The first two goals, like, yeah, Austin Matthews
Those
threw him that pass,
goals.
but it was the skill of Knies that made sure that it hit the back of the net. But on the hat trick goal, like, it's a beautiful play from Austin Matthews to strip Charlie McAvoy, to dust it off for just a second, to make sure that he's putting it right on the stick and the tape of Matthew Knies to ensure that the hat trick goal was was born off a chance that was made perfect, or as perfect as it possibly could be. There's a difference between, taking passes from Pontus Holberg versus Austin Matthews. There's a difference between really anyone on the team as opposed to Matthews and Marner, who are the best on the roster at doing that. Matthew Knies is a guy who's proven that he can play with superstars, and that's not the easiest thing. It may be in some ways harder than driving a line because, yeah, you can drive a line and it's not all that successful, but you can drive it. Not everyone can just step in with Matthews and Marner and do what Matthew Knies did last night. It was special stuff, and it's not something that should either diminish or weaken his conversation in terms of value. Like, there's something to be said for doing his job. It's not easy, and it doesn't mean that, he's any lesser than when it doesn't work quite as well outside of the Matthews partnership.
Yeah, Matthews and Marner are wonderful players to play with, but not everybody can do it. Like, just because you might have one skill set, like playing with the top guys who are getting the hardest matchups at times, getting the most looks, getting the most attention, there's a pressure to that. And Matthew Knies has been able to find a comfort in it and an excitement in it. Like, he's got a little attitude too about it, right? You saw him previously against the Bruins, like the way he plays, he likes this rivalry, he likes being up in the big moments in this big spotlight, and like, I think him being with those two guys, he sees it as a privilege and also as like an opportunity to prove himself. Not everybody can get stuck up there on the top line and flourish, so it is a lot of credit to Matthew Knies for being able to do that. It does seem easy sometimes just be in the right spot at the right time, but it's a lot more for what he's bringing than just that. His goals last night were pretty highlight reel. We're expecting him to get one of the stars of the week, and maybe we'll see those goals in those end of year recaps, but they're already the nicest goals of 2025. Considering it's day 5.
I think that's fair. I mean, when there's your hat trick, you can't decide which of the 3 goals was the nicest. You got a pretty good one. I promise that I do some homework and find out if that was the single best individual performance of the Maple Leaf season. And I think pretty clearly it was. I mean, we've outlined it. A hat trick, a +6. No player in the NHL has had a +6 rating after 60 minutes this season. 2 assists. All 5 points were even strength. You mentioned all the goals were basically 10 out of 10s. Unbelievable. The Maple Leafs didn't have a 4-point night prior to that, and he had 5 in the game. I think the only one, and there's been 3 other hat tricks for the Leafs this year, that would be, considered really great individual performances, clearly. But I think the next best individual performance came from a goaltender, Anthony Stolarz. He made 38 saves on 39 shots in a win over the Devils. The Devils had 4.6 expected goals in that game, scored only once.
I remember that
The Maple Leafs were absolutely caved in that game, and Stolarz basically got them the victory themselves. Our guy Luke Fox, I'll just read an excerpt from his game story because it tells you how lopsided it was. Quote from Luke: "You play 82 of these suckers and you're going to get one like this. A game where the ice tilts so dramatically that's nearly a right angle, where they impress their head coach, win the puck battles, dominate the charts, graphs, eyeballs, and still lose." New Jersey Devils head coach and former Leafs coach Sheldon Keefe said after the game, "Best goaltending in the league on the other side. It was our best game of the season. I'm leaving here feeling as good as I have about our team all year." So Stolarz stole one as much as you could ever steal one, and still I think it was just a notch below Matthew Knies, who had arguably the best single game all year round, NHL wide, of the season with his 5 points and +6 rating last night.
What are these other ones you got in there?
Well, we have 2 Tavares hat tricks this year. And again, we've done all these games. The top 5 here. We've done all 5 of these games.
We should take note of that. If you want a fun game, make sure that we got it.
Exactly. Tavares' 2 hat tricks. One was a natural hat trick. The other, though, came over the Winnipeg Jets in that memorable game where they broke the streak.
Yep.
But both of his hat tricks were deposited into an empty net. So,
takes a little bit off.
It's not quite there. He had 3 points in each, not 5. You just can't with the empty netter. It's kind of a 2-goal game. Matthew Knies beat the goaltender 3 times, not twice. And then Mitch Marner had the natural hat trick in Detroit, All 3 goals were pretty nice. No assists, though. And I remember we were watching that game thinking, man, he's not even playing well, but he's got 3 goals. So just that anecdote, and maybe that's too anecdotal, but, it doesn't measure up to the 5 points at Knies. And I think Stolarz would be the second best performance.
All right, pressure's on for the boys to try to top that tonight, all right? I was doing a little surveying of some of the Canadian teams, Canadian players, because I heard that Sam Bennett hadn't scored in a couple weeks or months, it feels like. So in our stat pack that Armin so graciously forwards to us, a great section about John Tavares ever since he's not been on the Four Nations roster. He's been one of the best Canadian players this season. He's 4th amongst all Canadians in goals with 19. Tied for 1st in game-winning goals amongst all Canadians with 6. Tied for 4th for even strength goals. Tied for 6th for even strength points. His 19 goals would make him the goals leader on 21 different teams in the NHL. And his 19 goals are tied for the most among NHL players 34 years or older this season. So, did they make a mistake?
No. No.
I thought I had you there.
I don't think so.
No.
I get it. The goals are great. But, everyone has a role on a team. And we just saw the juniors maybe fail in this regard, where they're being too cute and they're trying to go for things that are, not just like dominance and the best player going for intangibles and all that. But I do believe in the intangibles, and I do believe in what I saw from Sam Bennett in the playoffs the last 2 seasons, where he's absolutely been a wrecking ball and dominant. But it's not just goal scoring with that. There are going to be goal scorers on this team. There's no power play ice for John Tavares to soak up. It's just not going to happen at this tournament when Connor McDavid's on your team and Sidney Crosby's on your team, Nathan McKinnon, go on down the list. I think there has to be something more than just, hey, these are the top goal scorers of the season to make up a national team. I think any team construction should be a little deeper than that, and I think Team Canada chose a 4th line that's going to be an absolute nightmare to play against, and I don't think John Tavares, frankly, is a nightmare to play against, despite the production this year.
He's still having a great year. Okay, a couple more things here before we take a break. I think it's interesting the Flyers are in town because I think you also noted this as well. There's a bunch of guys that I think could be traded at the trade deadline, including Scott Laughton, who's someone that I kind of circled as one of the biggest trade targets. And as soon as the team comes into town, you see all the articles that are written about, Leafs and Flyers, potential fit for a couple trades. So, yeah, the Flyers don't really know where they're at. They're 2 points out of a playoff spot, but they're 17, 18, and 4. They're giving up so many goals at 5-on-5. Only the Pens and Sharks have given up more. They've given up 96 goals at 5-on-5. They kind of leak goals. But they have a lot of good offensive talent, and I wonder if there's a trade target or someone to keep an eye on tonight if you're watching that maybe the Leafs, not necessarily the Leafs, but maybe would be traded.
I mean, there's dream targets. There's pipe dream targets. There's 2 guys on the Team Canada roster that John Tavares didn't make, and Travis Sanheim and Travis Konechny, you would any team would love to get their hands on. And I wonder how satisfied guys are going to be to continue to be on this Flyers team that is, as I said, sort of rudderless in the fact that they are a team that is a couple years away from truly contending, and maybe even another coach away from being a contender, because we've seen this before with John Tortorella, where it only lasts so long. But Travis Sanheim, I'm looking forward to watching Travis Sanheim, because he was one of the guys where it's like,
he surprised us
really, Travis Sanheim?
Yeah.
But I think it's only that way because he doesn't play for the Leafs or the Oilers or the Bruins or any other team that we've seen a lot of. We haven't seen Travis Sanheim play in any, frankly, big games, because it's been a part of a Flyers team that hasn't played in any big games for the last little while. But Sanheim was thought of enough to be named to that team, so I'm looking forward to watching him in person tonight. But Konechny, we kind of know. Guy's been around for a little longer. He's made all-star teams. He's a thorn in the side. Him and Sam Bennett, they're going to be a good partnership on that 4th line for Canada. But if the Flyers ever decided, hey, we really need to stock the cupboards up, and we need to make sure that we don't lose one of these players, both these players, in vain, I mean, they would be the destination to pick up someone who would be unbelievably impactful on a playoff roster. Sanheim, Konechny, to a lesser extent Laughton, these are really good players who have more to give than the Flyers have been able to provide.
We got Leafs and Flyers getting set in about 10 minutes. Today's game 41 for the Maple Leafs, so halfway there. What have we learned about these Leafs?
I guess I've learned that they can, in fact, change their stripes.
Oh, you're believing.
I do think this team
is different.
I mean, clearly there's different things that are happening with the group. They are defending better, and part of that is Chris Tanev. Maybe it's not, Morgan Riley's so much better of a player defensively. I don't know if that's happening. But I think Brad Treliving is successfully turning things over. I think he still has a lot to rid the Leafs of in terms of the Kyle Dubas strategy, which was, hey, let's get a bunch of players who are just going to break even and let our top 4 guys create every advantage in the world. Like, I think David Kamp's still on this team, and Pontus Holmberg's still on this team, and there's still guys that I think have to be eventually turned over. But I think Treliving and Berube are successfully changing the way they play, and guys like Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews might be improving and changing in ways as well that could benefit this team in the long run. What have you learned?
Yeah, I think you're fair on all those points. I definitely think I've seen the Craig Berube effect. I think I've seen that there's still some holes, and that's what excites me about the trade deadline coming up. I think they are maybe 1 or 2 moves away from it being a pretty significant ability to make a run for it. I think the biggest thing is Austin Matthews is going to be the most important part of this team, of course, and when he's out, they can't run on fumes forever. So great to see him back in the lineup. As he mentioned yesterday, made his return, and it was great along that top line with Knies and Marner. So hoping those 3 bring what they brought last night for the fans, because it was super fun.
It was super fun. A repeat of last night would be fantastic. That's all you could pretty much ask for, given how well they played. I guess it shrouded the fact that the second line of Tavares, Nylander, and Pacioretty did not play particularly well. But as long as one of those lines is going, especially on a night like tonight where the Flyers don't have anything that could even resemble what the Leafs have in their top 2 lines, yeah, one line would probably get the job done.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll give you our players to watch and our key to victory and get you set for Puck Drop. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
The 2025 Honda Civic Hybrid is here, and it may sound too good to be true. With a 2-liter 4-cylinder backed by 2 electric motors, giving a combined 200 horsepower, it's our most powerful and fuel-efficient Civic ever. Plus, with an estimated range of over 800 kilometers and available features like a Bose premium sound system, your crew will love it too. Huh, maybe it should be called the Civic 2.0. Redefine your drive with the 2025 Civic Hybrid. Visit your Ontario Honda dealer and test drive yours today.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need, when you need it, 24/7, 365, every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
The Subaru winter has arrived. The crisp air and negative temperatures mean one thing: camping. Emerge from your icy tent and bask in 4 to 6 hours of sunlight. Enjoy the unmistakable smell of campfire through the glacial wind pummeling your face. Relax by the water, taking in the soothing sounds of thick ice cracking and popping. Get out there in winter like it's summer with standard symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and advanced safety systems. Visit your local Subaru dealer today.
The college football playoff semifinals are on SiriusXM. Thursday night at 7:30 Eastern. Penn State takes on Notre Dame.
And the Irish will go play in the semifinal. Woo!
Then Friday at 7:30 Eastern, the Longhorns of Texas and Ohio State meet up in Dallas.
Jeremiah Smith with another magical catch.
Get your channel numbers at SiriusXM.com/college football schedule or search college football on the SiriusXM app. And for expert analysis, check out College Sports Radio Channel 84.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
Vegas Golden Knights head coach Bruce Cassidy.
What gets you excited when you see their team, really starting to function at a high level?
Now you're bringing new guys in and creating a culture for them. I have always enjoyed that. Enjoyed it in Boston. Love it here. Two organizations with great culture and winning sort of attitudes. And we're seeing some young guys getting a little more responsibility and handling it well.
The Power Play. Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. 24/7 hockey talk.
Understand that you are allowed to legally still check the head, not just the head. The head by itself is a penalty. If you wanted to change it, that would be like in the IIHF. That's probably a penalty at the Olympics. That's probably at the World Juniors. That guy's gone and suspended. I ask you, do you want that?
Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app. Hockey 24/7 on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio.
The only two players in the history of the National Hockey League to have 600 goals, 1,600 points, 3 Stanley Cups, and 2 Conn Smythes. Wayne and Sid. Just it absolutely blows your mind how good Sidney Crosby is and how much we take him for granted.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app. Under review.
So I always crack up when people go, I got a 4th and a 5th and a 6th. And Charlie Brown got a rock. I'll take the 4th, 5th, and 6th over the rock. If you miss on your first round draft pick, it can happen. You miss the second time, what are we doing here? You miss the third time, you should be fired. What are you doing running your team's draft? No excuses.
Under Review with Mick Kern, 11 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM. Hockey lives here.
Suzuki sweeps it, there's a chance, rebound, Caulfield, shoots and scores!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
This is Molson Leafs Hockey.
We're about to bring the war right now. Sound the alarm.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network. There's a Molson with your name on it.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Leafs hosting the Flyers at the halfway mark of the season on the second half of a back-to-back. Ailish Forfar, Justin Cuthbert, we're getting you set for Puck Drop. Let's go to the key to victory, brought to you by your Ontario Honda dealers. Get home ice advantage on every drive with the new Civic Hybrid, proudly made in Ontario, available now at your Ontario Honda dealer. Justin.
Yeah, the thing about the Flyers is there's not much difference between the first line, second line, third line, and fourth line. So my key to victory would be that the bottom six for the Maple Leafs stays afloat. I think the Flyers would like any matchup against the Leafs top six, which means Toronto should like any matchup that features its top six. With its imbalanced group going head-to-head with the Flyers, the Leafs should have an advantage there. Let's go to the player to watch, presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit connexontario.ca.
I wish I could pick the whole top line, but I'm going to single one of them out. Mitch Marner, plus 180 for a goal tonight, plus 285 for 2 assists. He's got 13 points during his 6-game point streak against the Flyers. Likes playing against them. He's got multiple points in 4 of those games, and he needs 1 goal to become the 6th to score 100 goals at Scotiabank Arena. So,
wow.
My player to watch.
Sounds like a guy on the quarter-century team for the Maple Leafs.
He is. I love it.
Top line.
He's locked in. But yeah, anyone on that top line, I'm feeling like is going to be on the score sheet tonight. Both goalies not with the greatest goals against average. They are very tall.
They are very tall. Maybe the tallest goaltending matchup in history tonight at Scotiabank Arena between Dennis Hildeby and Ivan Fedotov. Fedotov might be 6'8", but the numbers say 6'7". Anyway, let's go through the lines for the Toronto Maple Leafs before we throw to Joe and Jim. Knies, Matthews, Marner on the top line. Pacioretty, Tavares, Nylander, McMahon, Domi, Robertson, Lorentz, Camp, and Dewar. And no changes again to the blue line. Riley and Philip Myers, Jake McCabe and Chris Tanev, with Simone Benoit and Oliver Ekman-Larsson, of course, Dennis Hildeby in net. The Flyers will counter with Scott Laughton, Morgan Frost, and Matvey Mishkov, the rookie standout. Tyson Forster, Noah Cates, and Bobby Brinker in the second line. Owen Tippett, Ryan Paling, and Travis Konechny. Joel Farabee, Sean Couturier on the fourth line with Garnet Hathaway on defense. Team Canada's Travis Sanheim with Cam York, Igor Zamula, and Rasmus Ristolainen with Nick Seeler and Jamie Drysdale on the third pair with Ivan Fedotov, the third goaltender for the Flyers in net.
All right, it'll be tough to top. Last night, a wonderful game for the Maple Leafs over the Boston Bruins, but they need this one as well. They're holding on to first place in the Atlantic, and they want to keep that going. Line of Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, and Matthew Knies had 13 points last night. One of the best single-game performances of all season with Knies, a hat trick, +6. Hadn't been done yet this season. We'll see what these three and the rest of the Maple Leafs can do tonight. We'll send it over to Jim, Ralph, and Joe Bowen, who will have the call of the first period next. You've been listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The best hockey lives here.
Burns gets it back, stick handles to the backhand, moves in front, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Join me, Scott Laughlin, and Gord Stellick, along with former NHLer Mike Johnson for NHL Morning Skate, weekday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
Vegas Golden Knights head coach Bruce Cassidy.
What gets you excited when you see their team, really starting to function at a high level?
Now you're bringing new guys in and creating a culture for them. I have always enjoyed that, enjoyed it in Boston, love it here. Two organizations with great culture and winning sort of attitudes, and we're seeing some young guys get a little more responsibility and handling it well.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. 24/7 hockey talk.
To understand that you are allowed to legally still check the head, not just the head. The head by itself is a penalty. If you wanted to change it, that would be like in the IIHF. That's probably a penalty at the Olympics. That's probably at the World Juniors. That guy's gone and suspended. I ask you, do you want that?
Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app. Hockey 24/7 on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio.
The only two players in the history of the National Hockey League to have 600 goals, 1,600 points, 3 Stanley Cups, and 2 Conn Smythes. Wayne and Sid. Just it absolutely blows your mind how good Sidney Crosby is and how much we take him for granted.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app. Under review.
So I always crack up when people go, I got a 4th and a 5th and a 6th. And Charlie Brown got a rock. I'll take the 4th, 5th, and 6th over the rock. If you miss on your first round draft pick, it can happen. You miss the second time, what are we doing here? You miss the third time, you should be fired. What are you doing running your team's draft? No excuses.
Under Review with Mick Kern, 11 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
The UEFA Champions League is back on Sirius XM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
The big names are on NHL Network Radio.
The Executive Director, Vice President of Hockey Operations for the NHL, Colin Campbell.
The one thing that we're wrestling right now, when do you change a call? We talk about a listening device in the referee's ear. Do we make that next step? How more perfect can we make a game through video review and helping the officials on the ice?
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Ray Hudson here with an important announcement. You can listen to your favourite Sirius XM FC shows on the all-new Sirius XM app, now available for all subscribers.
And the Leafs Radio Network.
Well, we put the sleeping bags away. We put out the campfire. We're ready to go. Back-to-back games here. Just like we were just here.
Now, this is as close to college hockey as I think it's ever been.
Yeah.
2 games.
Even high school.
Same weekend. I don't know what they did in high school.
No, I don't know either. Anyway, the plumbers of the polypropylene pipes tonight are brought to you by Molson. Molson, everyone in. And there is a lot of goaltending out here tonight. Both of these individuals are 6'7" tall. Dennis Hildeby for the Leafs, 2-1-0 with a 3.68 goals against average. Starting in goal for Toronto, Ivan Fedotov for the Flyers, 4-4-1, 3.48. Neither has played a game against the rival tonight. So the first start for Hildeby, the first start for Fedotov against the Maple Leafs.
It's been a while for Fedotov. His last start was the end of November when it was a 3-1 win over the Rangers.
Leafs to the right, Flyers to the left, and immediately an icing call is called here. Philadelphia was in town last night waiting for the Maple Leafs to finish up with the Boston Bruins. In fact, this is the 10th of 16 back-to-back games for the Toronto Maple Leafs in the schedule this season.
Not many easier than this one, though, right?
No, this is, if you're going to have it, this is the way to do it. 2 games at home. Flyers win the face-off. Working back is Bobby Brink. Got it in around back of the Toronto goal to the near boards. Chopped at there by Pacioretty, but not cleared. And now Riley flips to an open corner, and Myers goes in with a hefty hit there. And the puck squirts free, and the Flyers get it back to the blue line. Dished off by Brink onto the right wing side. A shot. Hildeby makes his first save of the game. Leafs play it off the boards, but it's trapped by Brink again. Sent to the far corner. Myers taken to the boards. Got it freed up for Riley. Riley tried to push it along the boards. It was blocked. Then Myers fanned on a backhand play up along the boards. It didn't work. Flyers keeping it in with a shot. Hildeby blockered that away. Leafs are going to get it out finally. Ristolainen playing it back into his own zone. Rasmus Ristolainen playing it off the boards and in on goal. Tanev circles the net to get it ahead for Matthews, who flipped it ahead, and it'll come to the line but not cleared. Flyers keeping it in, but a pass intercepted and fed off on the far wing where Knies couldn't come up with it. And this line was on fire last night. Played into the Flyers zone. Knocked up on the far boards by Scott Laughton. Philadelphia gets it in for Ristolainen on the right side. A rolling puck in front of the net. Bouncing puck in the goal crease area. Still free. And the Maple Leafs are able to clear it out. Benoit shooting it in, but he didn't quite get to center ice. And so an icing call is coming here against Toronto.
And you mentioned the size of the 2 goaltenders. Can you imagine we get an 8-7 game? It could drastically alter the draft going forward. And okay, that size might not be the most important thing.
I thought that what we should do tonight is have Darren Pang dress and just stand beside the 2 guys, right?
Well, I did look up the shortest goalie in NHL history, Roy Warders.
5'4"?
Something like that. Played for the
I remember the name.
1.6 meters.
Yes. Right? Or Americans. Yeah. One of them, yeah. So Darren Pang was 5'5". Of course, the great line was Larry Robinson in the first game between the Canadians and the Blackhawks when Panger played. He asked one of the Blackhawks, "Where's the rest of your goalie?"
And I tell you, he made the most. He hadn't had any injury at the end of his career, but
he
for that size,
athletic.
Yep.
Boy, oh boy, I guess so. And one of the great guys and one of the great broadcasters in the NHL currently. Here's Domi getting in over the Philadelphia line, dropping it off for Bobby McMahon, and a sharp angle shot. Fedotov handling the puck for the first time. Cam York gets it freed up for the Flyers, brought to center ice by Sandheim, and it's launched high into the Toronto zone. No score early on here in the first period as David Camp starts away with a pass that was out of the reach of Lorenz. Icing waved off because of the hustle there of Minton around the boards, at least by Dewar. Back to the point it comes to Riley. His pass goes back of the net, trying to come out with a sharp angle try was Camp, and it went wide. Flyers with it in their own zone. Sandheim will get it out into the center ice area. Flyers are 17, 18, and 4 for 38 points. They're 9, 9, and 3 on the road. This is the halfway mark. Wow, Camp just got leveled, and a shot scores. Boy, that should have been a penalty in my estimation, but it was not called. And Tyson Forster opens the scoring for the Flyers.
And not a great goal for Hildeby to give up. Just right down the right wing side. Now, I think they're going to say maybe it's incidental contact as David Camp. Pardon me, I guess it was Pacioretty.
Was it Pacioretty?
Yeah.
Yes,
oh,
you're right.
now we
Sorry.
see a different angle of it. Yeah, they just kind of collide as Pacioretty was
pretty much
trying to.
Isn't it?
Yeah, but the Leafs. I mean, this is a 2-on-2. You're saying, okay, we'll give them that shot anytime. And just inside the top, well, it's actually right at the top of the right wing circle, a foot off the ice, blocker side. And you remember Hildeby's last start against Buffalo, he gave up a couple like that as well, Joe.
So the Leafs, for the first time in 6 games, do not get the opening goal of the hockey game. As it is punched into the center ice area, and Marner backhanding it down into Philadelphia territory. Zamula plays it around the boards. The Leafs intercept, and a shot by Matthews was kicked away. Kept alive by the Leafs at the blue line. Tanev sends it towards the net. Rebound in front. They score! Guess who? Knies ties the game.
Horrible turnover by the Flyers. Chris Tanev from the right point throws it to the front of the net where Austin Matthews is set in front of the goaltender to deflect it. Matthews gets it off the right pad of goaltender Fedotov, but the rebound comes right out to Matthew Knies, who chips it into the empty side to tie this game at 1.
Say the young man is hot.
Wow. Another point for Austin Matthews as well. I mean, Matthews on his own has points now in 6 straight games. Well, the NHL doesn't honor consecutive games if they've been missed to injury.
Played down into the Toronto zone. Tanev unable to get to it. Benoit trying to chop it along the wall. Got it along to the near side. A shot in front of the net is intercepted by Tavares, who sends it down the ice, and Pacioretty will get there to deny icing, but then overskated it. Played to the line, just kept in by Toronto. But the Flyers have it now, and they're banking it out into the center ice area. So a hat trick last night, and another one here tonight as the Leafs get in with a shot that's blocked, and now Nylander bunts it towards the net, but it is covered up by Ivan Fedotov to stop play and bring a face-off in the Flyer zone.
It is a difficult game to play. I mean, the second of back-to-backs, especially at home, after you've played the Boston Bruins the night before. You know, you've got that rivalry. It was an emotional win. It took everything you had to come out of it with 2 points. I know whenever the Leafs would play the Rangers or Islanders after they'd played each other, they always seem to come out flat because you have to go from this emotional high to really kind of trying to manufacture it again the next night.
Flyers get it down into the Leaf end. Along the boards, Brink trying to get it in back of the goal, and does. Couturier plays it back to the point. Sent back for Couturier, back of the goal. He'll bank it to the blue line, and Sandheim lets a shot go that deflects wide of the goal. And now Ekman-Larsson having difficulties with it. Got it to Robertson, and the Leafs get it out. Brought on now by Benoit. From the red line, it's pumped in, and now Robertson gets to the loose puck. Robertson banking it around back of the net for David Camp, but he can't come up with it. Then Bobby McMahon is in there to force it back behind the net. And the Flyers will get it out and down into the Leaf end. Myers to Riley, up on the left wing for Camp. Can't get it in over the line cleanly. Now Dewar does, and sends it in over the line. Dewar does. I shouldn't really use that. I think I got to change that. How about Dewar did? Played back in.
Do or doesn't, as probably sounds worse.
or do or die. One or the other. All right. Anyway, we've got it back again. Flyers in with a shot from an angle, and that was stopped by Hildeby. Leafs trying to play it along the boards, and it is Myers, a Moncton native, waiting for teammates to change, is in back of the net. He's got to be pretty happy with the way things have gone since training camp and signing a new deal with the Maple Leafs here this week as it bounced down into Flyer territory. Matthews against the boards, works into the corner, tried to drop it back there for Marner, then it comes to the side of the goal, and it was knocked away there by Fedotov at the last second. Marner keeping it in. Matthews twisting and turning with it, stops on the diamond, got a shot away, and Fedotov got a pad in front of that. Knies crumples this man to the boards on the near wing. Boy, a little goal scoring goes right to your legs and your aggressiveness as well, as Matthew Knies now traps the puck on the near boards, trying to keep it in, but it was knocked out at center ice. Owen Tippett will play it deep into Toronto territory. Benoit circles the goal and starts up the right wing boards. Benoit playing it in and then ran over one of the Flyer defensemen who were trying to slow him up. Puck is played out at center ice. That'll force Ekman-Larsson back to recover. Benoit gets his pass, tried to play it ahead, but it ends up going right down on goaltender Fedotov, and the Flyers will get it out at center ice. High stick possibly. No, the Flyers touch it. And Zamula will turn back up ice on the near side for Ristolainen. And a long shoot-in goes down into the Toronto zone, but it's going to be called icing here. So there will be 12:03 left to play in the period. Game tied 1-1. The Leafs have had 6 shots on goal. And the Flyers 4 now. I guess we're calling it offside because we're going to go to a commercial break. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Working too hard to give you a heart attack.
You want to become good? Work. Laying at Sweet 16s, parties, weddings, bar mitzvahs.
First record I remember buying was Time Out by Dave Brubeck.
Flabbergasted by that album, how good that was. You know the song Wipeout? I just adapted it to the piano.
The Billy Joel Channel is back on Sirius XM for a limited time. Channel 79 and the Sirius XM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
Vegas Golden Knights head coach Bruce Cassidy.
What gets you excited when you see their team, really starting to function at a high level?
Now you're bringing new guys in and creating a culture for them. I have always enjoyed that. Enjoyed it in Boston. Love it here. 2 organizations with great culture and winning sort of attitudes. And we're seeing some young guys getting a little more responsibility and handling it well.
The Power Play. Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app.
The UEFA Champions League is back on Sirius XM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen. Walks in. Put it between his legs. Shoots it. Score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
The Leafs Radio Network.
The Leafs father's trip started, I guess, the dad's going, then the mom's got to go. Now there's mentors going. So people that have had an impact in players' careers. And one of the mentors is Mike O'Shea. Shea, who is former Toronto Argo great.
Well, you ran into him last night, you said.
I ran into him today. I'm just coming off the train today. And he is going on the trip as a guest of Austin Matthews, I understand.
Joe Thornton is
yes.
Austin Matthews.
So to say it was, that's kind of a neat idea. And Mike O'Shea, great coach in the Canadian Football League with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers as a centering pass. Knocked away by Hildeby on the short side. Flyers can't keep it in. The Leafs punch it out at center. A pass by McMahon gets in over the line. And now Robertson playing it back into the corner for Domi. Domi ran into a traffic jam. The puck comes free. Couldn't get it out in front, though. And the Flyers will take it to center slowly and send it down into the Toronto end. You think how times have changed and makeup of teams change. The big bad Flyers, the Broad Street Bullies, how that transgressed into a league that just had
went to the Canadians after that.
Every team, and then Montreal with finesse and scoring changed that, and it's such a copycat league. But now it's the teams are nowhere near that kind of physicality that was involved back in the Fred Shiro days, as the Flyers have it back in their own zone. Play it off the boards, but the Leafs come away with it. Jake McCabe back in his own zone. Waits for Marner. Marner with a pass up on the right side, and into the corner goes Matthews. Matthews stops on a dime and looks it back to the blue line, but it's out of the reach of Tanev.
Might have hit the referee's skate, didn't it?
Well, it ended up back in the Leaf end, one way or the other. Played out off a skate, kicked ahead nicely by Marner. Played in over the line. Matthew Knies into the forecheck. He has the Leaf goal in a 1-1 tie. Marner at center. Lost it. Ekman-Larsson retrieves it. Tried to play it back out in center ice territory for Matthews. The Flyers are stretching things out, and the Leafs are going to get a change started. 9:56 to play first period. Leafs 1, Flyers 1. Backhanded into the zone by Morgan Frost. Aurora native couldn't get free. The puck is taken away by Nylander. Nylander with a backhand pass to the line, but broken up there at the defense. Flyers will get it back to center, then have it stolen back. Nylander bursts in over the line. Going to ring it around the boards to the near side. Comes back for Tavares. Tavares trying to keep it in, and does. Back of the net for Pacioretty. Pacioretty banks it back to the point. Then a drive by Myers went well wide of the goal. Played into an empty corner. Tavares gets there first. Back to the point, Riley, and he gets a quick wrist shot away that was about 5 feet wide. And the Flyers are going to be able to get it to the line and now bring it back into their own end and have it stolen almost by Nylander. But the Flyers get to center and into the Leaf zone. Shot from an angle is gloved off the stick of Scott Laughton by goaltender Dennis Hildeby. And the Hildebeest will hold on for a face-off coming in the Toronto zone. Leafs 1, Flyers 1. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
The 2025 Honda Civic Hybrid is here, and it may sound too good to be true. With a 2-liter 4-cylinder backed by 2 electric motors, giving a combined 200 horsepower, it's our most powerful and fuel-efficient Civic ever. Plus, with an estimated range of over 800 kilometers and available features like a Bose premium sound system, your crew will love it too. Huh, maybe it should be called the Civic 2.0. Redefine your drive with the 2025 Civic Hybrid. Visit your Ontario Honda dealer and test drive yours today.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365. Bet365. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
The Subaru winter has arrived. The crisp air and negative temperatures mean one thing: camping. Emerge from your icy tent and bask in 4 to 6 hours of sunlight. Enjoy the unmistakable smell of campfire through the glacial wind pummeling your face. Relax by the water, taking in the soothing sounds of thick ice cracking and popping. Get out there in winter like it's summer with standard symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and advanced safety systems. Visit your local Subaru dealer today.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
Here's a chance in front for Cam, trying to get in front of Lanty, score!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Matthew Knies from Matthews and Tanev, the scoring play for the Maple Leafs to tie the game at ones. That line is responsible for the last 7 goals the Leafs have scored.
What's been so impressive about the group is you had a game where John Tavares scored 3. You had a game Bobby McMahon scored both in Long Island. David Cam scored 2 goals, had an assist in a 5-game span. Nick Robertson scored in 3 straight games. And now Matthew Knies last night.
A wrist shot there by Lorentz, went wide. Lorentz working back of the goal, got it to the side of the net, but the Flyers get control of the puck, but then lose it in a jam play in front. Oh, what a great save by Fedotov there on a loose puck in front of the net that Lorentz got to. McCabe getting it off to Tanev. Tanev back to McCabe. McCabe into the slot area. Now a pass in front of the net for David Camp didn't work, and it's played high, and I do mean high, to center ice. And McCabe trying to get to it but can't. And now Lorentz will play it back into his own zone.
By the way, Steven Lorentz, we were talking about guys that contributed. Remember his goal against the Islanders? Turned out to be a huge one.
Off McMahon's stick, it goes into the Flyer end. 8 minutes to play here in the period. And it's played out into the center ice area and down into the Leaf zone, and trying to drive the net was Hathaway. That was deflected wide. Cleared to the line, but not out. Into the slot area once more. Couturier on the side. Got a shot away. Hildeby made the save. The puck comes around to the near wing. Flyers getting it back to the point. Ristolainen playing it deep into the Toronto zone. Down the boards is Zamula to try and keep it in. Yegor Zamula, and then a lead pass for Domi was out of his reach, and that has gone for icing. And we'll come back into the Flyers zone. The Flyers goaltending has really been spotty this year, hasn't it?
Yeah, now they've got their number one guy is injured, so they're going to have to play around that. But overall, 3.56 goals against average as a team for the Flyers, which is 30th in the NHL. I think the Pittsburgh Penguins and Columbus Blue Jackets have allowed more per game.
By comparison, the Leafs are the 8th best goals against average and the 2nd best save percentage at .915.
And really, at the start of the year, when the Leafs weren't scoring, they were top
number one? Yeah.
Top 2 or 3, it seemed like, for the first 7 or 8 weeks.
Flyers centering, pass in front. Big pad save made there by Hildeby. Comes in front, Hildeby, another glove save. The Hildebees comes up big here to keep the score at 1s.
Well, that first stop was spectacular. Off Travis Konechny, who cut in, tried to go around him. And then it was Nick Seeler that got the second opportunity, sneaking down from the point, getting the loose puck right between it was Forster, 71, not 11. Konechny on the first opportunity, but Nick Seeler then had the other great chance right between the hash marks, and that produced the big glove save and the whistle.
And I got news for you. He needed all 6'7" on that first try. Here's Matthews with a shot that goes high and wide.
If he's 6'6", that's in, right?
That's in, yeah. Brought in now by the Flyers across the line, the right wing side. Tippett trying to get a shot. Hildeby stopped that. It goes around to the point on the left wing side. The Flyers get it around back of the net. Owen Tippett trying to center it. Comes in front, and a whistling drive went wide of the net by Konechny and is played out into the center ice area. Flyers Sandheim sends it into Toronto territory, and Tavares turns. The assistant captain makes a nice move to work it into center ice. Hits the blue line. Fed in on the right side. That looked like it was offside, but a play goes on. And now, never mind, because the Flyers have got it out into the center ice area anyway. And they make a play in on the left wing. Myers does a nice job with the long reach to force the Flyer all the way back behind the net instead of being able to drive the goal. Now Frost makes a nice move to get away from one, but his shot is deflected well wide of the goal. Played back to the blue line. A pass in front. Backhand shot. Stopped by Hildeby. Scooped into the corner. Tavares trying to drag it along the wall there. But the Leafs now get a loose puck to come in front of their goal. And on the wing it is Pacioretty just getting it out over the line. Pacioretty slamming his stick on the boards after maybe a second opportunity that a penalty should have been called against the Flyers for their actions against him.
I mean, I think that's a clean hit, unless he's upset with Philip Myers for giving him the pass.
Now a centering pass, glove by Hildeby at the side of the net. That draws a crowd, and we've got some face wash action going on, but nothing more developing with 5:14 to play in the first period. The game tied at 1s. We'll step aside. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
It's soccer's most thrilling league.
Only the Premier League can make you feel like this.
And now every match is on the SiriusXM app.
Can you believe it?
From the title race.
This is remarkable. Keeps this title charge on track, surely.
To the relegation fight.
The impossible may still be possible.
Hear every English Premier League match on the SiriusXM app and talk about all the EPL drama on SiriusXM FC 157 and the SiriusXM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
Vegas Golden Knights head coach Bruce Cassidy.
What gets you excited when you see their team, really starting to function at a high level?
Now you're bringing new guys in and creating a culture for them. I have always enjoyed that, enjoyed it in Boston, love it here. Two organizations with great culture and winning sort of attitudes, and we're seeing some young guys getting a little more responsibility and handling it well.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91 and the SiriusXM app.
The UEFA Champions League is back on SiriusXM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now, with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on SiriusXM FC 157 and the all-new SiriusXM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
Leafs Radio Network.
First period brought to you by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit ConnexOntario.ca. Leafs control the face-off in their zone, launch it high into neutral ice. Flyers shoot it right back in again. Hildeby knocking it down to get it to Tavares on the boards for McCabe. He makes about a 3-foot pass, and now Tavares gets an outlet, but that was blocked. Flyers keeping it in on the far wing with a shot that comes in front. Matthews intercepts, and Marner gets an outlet pass to center. Marner to the line and in. Just staying on side apparently was Knies, although it was very close. Puck in along the boards now. Marner unable to get to it. Flyers will get it out at center ice. Tippett in on the right side, dropping for Konechny. Back to Tippett, wrap around attempt. No, it goes into the corner. Back into the slot. Wrist the line and a drive. Pad save and a good one made there by Hildeby. And the 6'7" frame comes out to cover up on that as Benoit and Konechny have a little push and shove session. And Hildeby out.
Yeah, I mean, he's really settled down. Shots now have risen to 14-8 in favor of the Flyers, and you can certainly see after giving up a goal, I think it was on the third shot of the game for Philadelphia off the wing, and you were starting to wonder if maybe it was a bit of a struggle for Hildeby here, because it can be tougher to play on home ice, especially here. Both franchises have had a history of being pretty difficult on goaltenders.
Face off to his right is scrummed, but the Leafs come away with it, and 3 Leafs break it to center. Dewar in on the right side, trying to bank it around back of the net. Lorenz couldn't come up with it. Cleared out at center, and the back checking of Camp restores it for Toronto, and Dewar gets it in over the line, only to have it shot out again and down into the Leaf end. No icing, and so Riley has to go back. He's going to ring it around the boards. And Dewar and Lorenz let it go, and it turns into an icing. We're talking about this before the game. Your fourth line, you hope contributes offensively, although it's not that important. But you want people that can play different spots. And all 3 of these guys on the Leafs fourth line can kill penalties, but they don't hurt you. And Connor Dewar has 0 penalty minutes. How Steven Lorenz has 0 penalty minutes, I don't know. And David Camp has taken 1 minor penalty. So you send your fourth line out, bit of an energy, make sure you do the right things, but don't hurt us. Don't take a penalty in the offensive zone. Puts us a man down.
And any kind of offense is a bonus.
Yes.
Right? And we have seen that, like we said.
Long shot in on Hildeby off his chest, but he gets the glove on top of it to cover up and stop play. And that's the confidence that they give the coach, and the coach returns the favor by giving it to the players by playing it, right?
Yeah. And then, like I said, of late, now David Kampf was playing up in the second line when he scored the 2 goals in a 5-game span, but Steven Lorentz scored with a rocket from the high slot against the New York Islanders, which was a huge goal that tied the game.
Leafs get it out into neutral ice, but Nylander couldn't get away, and then when the Flyers tried to send it back into the Leaf end, they got it elevated into the screen and out of play. 3 minutes and 41 seconds to go. First period. This game has kind of settled down, and the Leafs, who were out shooting the Flyers, are now being outshot 16-8 in the first period. There's a sign said, "Hey, Steven Lorentz, I will trade you this helmet strap for an autographed puck or stick." Of course, the other night, he got his helmet stuck in the glass during the pregame warm-up. Out at center ice now comes Max Domi. He'll flip in on the right side. Bobby McMahon into the corner, trying to shield the puck. Domi tries to help out, trying to tip it back to the point, but the Flyers intercept, and they'll skate the center ice with a pass in on the right side for Couturier. Offside called by the linesman. Two teams will see each other again on Tuesday night, but it'll be in Philadelphia.
I gotta ask because Jean and Jocelyn Hubert, who are doing the games tonight, I'm finally finding it, are not related. Many of you have asked, no, they are not related. Now, the Philadelphia Flyer broadcasters asked me if I knew if they were brothers. I said, I think so, and they said, we never know when you're serious or not. So, the fact that I was wrong
has no bearing on this whatsoever.
Just kidding.
No, exactly. Yeah. And they think I have an easy time working with you.
No, they don't.
Flyers with a centering pass, goes around back of the net. Trying to get it into the slot. Easily picked off there by Pacioretty. He's going to carry to center to try and flip in, but didn't get it along the boards far enough for Nylander, and the Flyers counterattack. Tippett gets it down into the Toronto zone. Round on the boards to the near side. Travis Sanheim trying to play it in front. Sanheim against the boards into the corner. Tavares makes a nice play to get free of it, but Pacioretty can't get it out. But they will regroup it to the defense, and Morgan Riley has it out at center ice. Tavares, a pass ahead for Marner. That didn't work. Now he'll flip in, and it'll bounce in wide of the Flyer goal as the Leafs are changing. The big line is on the ice, and they have been red hot, to say the least. Matthews, Knies, and Marner. Around back of the net for Morgan Riley. Riley with a pass up off the stick of Marner. Almost connected there with Knies. And the Flyers in the center ice area play it to the Leaf blue line. Intercepted, and Marner's away. In across the line, he weaves to the right wing side with a shot. Good pad save made by Fedotov. Kept alive by Matthews at the blue line. Flyers in their own zone. Ristolainen getting it up on the wing, and it'll be played high to center ice off a glove, but controlled now by Marner, who backpedals in his own zone and now heads to the bench. Minute 20 to go in the first, tied at a goal. Brought on by David Kampf. His shot, pass, a big juicy rebound. Another puck, score! Ekman-Larsson.
This is not a great rebound for Fedotov to give up. David Kampf comes over the Flyer line, left wing side. It may have gone off a skate before it got to him, but this rebound right back out in front. The first one by Lorentz doesn't go, but Ekman-Larsson following the play up. I mean, he pokes it with one hand with Fedotov well to the left of the net, face down. And the Leafs, despite being outshot 16-11, have taken the lead 2-1.
I do believe I was just talking about the fourth line and, you know, how going out, doing important things, don't hurt the team, don't take penalties, chip in when you can.
Last minute of play in the first.
Pretty smart, huh?
Yeah. 25% chance.
Could have gone the other way, too, you know.
No, you did say the first line was hot, so that's your 50%.
Puck in the Flyer zone. Here's Dewar trying to work out of the corner. Gets it back to the point. D to D. It comes to McCabe. Wrist shot in traffic. Oh, and a juicy rebound in front. And Connor Dewar had to go off a skate and go wide of the net. Or the fourth line may have had a second goal in the same shift. 21 seconds left in the period. Drop pass, wrist the line and set it wide. Hildeby was knocked down, and there's a penalty coming to the Flyers. And McCabe has given them the business. The Leafs get it down into the offensive zone, and now we've got a fight. Is that Hathaway? And down goes McCabe heavily. Jake McCabe is hurt. He got tagged by Hathaway.
The referee stood there with them as long as he could. McCabe persisted, and then Hathaway threw a punch, and Jake McCabe is in a lot of trouble.
Hathaway has gone to the dressing room. McCabe is sitting on his haunches in the Toronto zone.
I know McCabe wants to come to the defense of his goaltender. Hathaway didn't really want a part of it, Joe. So it's unfortunate that Hathaway, who's known to be able to throw them, caught Jake McCabe, who is being helped up by trainers and teammates to get to the Leaf dressing room, and I would say that it is highly unlikely we're going to see Jake McCabe back tonight.
6 seconds left to go in the first period. And now on his skates and heading to the Toronto dressing room with the training staff. Not looking too much worse for Ware.
Yeah, you know what? That might have been the back of his head that hit the ice. I thought it was an uppercut, but the two fell, and it might have been the weight of Hathaway on McCabe. And you've got to remember, McCabe was hit in the back of the head in Tampa, which cost him some time. And Craig Berube, who has coached for the Flyers, played for them.
Been involved in a few of those little
as well as the Leafs.
Minor penalty, goal interference, 19, 5 minutes of fighting. Toronto Maple Leafs, 22, minor penalty for roughing, 5 minutes fighting. We're going 5-on-5.
Yeah, I mean, this is the right call. Yeah, and we've talked about this before, that if you want to get this part out of the game, the retribution fights out of the game, you've got to penalize the guy. And McCabe probably gets away with an instigator.
Yeah.
You know, which would have cost him 10. So, I mean, it's the right call, but what the officials do is they hide it. They're like an accountant saying, okay, you know what, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to put this over.
That up.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? It's like it is an instigator. We know that McCabe is standing over Hathaway. That's what instigates the fight, unless, of course, you say no, what instigated the fight was the hit, the goalie interference before that. But
5-on-5, Matthews dropping it back. Oliver Ekman-Larsson with a shot that went wide, and time will run out without any further damage being done. The Leafs will take a 2-1 lead to the dressing room on goals from Matthew Knies and Oliver Ekman-Larsson after Forster had opened the scoring for Philadelphia.
Now, and as accurate as you were with the fourth line, how about up until last night, a Leaf defenseman hadn't scored since November 30th.
Now they're on a streak.
Now back-to-back games.
See, if you'd have brought that up beforehand, then you would have sounded a lot like me, you know, doing something ahead of it.
I think the fellas are doing real good, Joe.
Good. That works. Good on the fellas. Good on the fellas.
We got to bring that back.
Yeah,
like I said, every
fellas.
old black and white interview you see, the players are talking about the fellas.
The fellas.
Yeah.
The good old fellas. Yeah. All right. Well, you fella.
Yeah.
Mosey on for the Intermission, and we'll bring on Ailish Forfar and Justin Cuthbert. 2-1 in favor of the Maple Leafs. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
SiriusXM is the destination for the best in podcasts. Get started on your 2025 resolutions with motivation and advice on the Mel Robbins Podcast. Focus on nutrition and mental health on the Huberman Lab. And listen to On Purpose with Jay Shetty to make mindfulness and wisdom a part of your everyday. Achieve your 2025 resolutions with SiriusXM Podcasts. SiriusXM Podcasts. Listen to all of these and so much more right now on the SiriusXM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
Vegas Golden Knights head coach Bruce Cassidy.
What gets you excited when you see their team, really starting to function at a high level?
Now you're bringing new guys in and creating a culture for them. I have always enjoyed that, enjoyed it in Boston, love it here. Two organizations with great culture and winning sort of attitudes, and we're seeing some young guys getting a little more responsibility and handling it well.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. 24/7 hockey talk.
To understand that you are allowed to legally still check the head, not just the head. The head by itself is a penalty. If you wanted to change it, that would be like in the IIHF. That's probably a penalty at the Olympics. That's probably at the World Juniors. That guy's gone and suspended. I ask you, do you want that?
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. Hockey 24/7 on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio.
The only two players in the history of the National Hockey League to have 600 goals, 1,600 points, 3 Stanley Cups, and 2 Conn Smythes. Wayne and Sid. Just it absolutely blows your mind how good Sidney Crosby is and how much we take him for granted.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. Under review.
So I always crack up when people go, I got a 4th and a 5th and a 6th. And Charlie Brown got a rock. I'll take the 4th, 5th, and 6th over the rock. If you miss on your first round draft pick, it can happen. You miss the second time, what are we doing here? You miss the third time, you should be fired. What are you doing running your team's draft? No excuses.
Under review with Mick Kern, 11 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
The UEFA Champions League is back on SiriusXM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on SiriusXM FC 157 and the all-new SiriusXM.
Hey, hockey fans! Once again, thank you so much for hanging out with us for the Leafs here on TSI. Tonight, we've got the Philadelphia Flyers. It's Sunday night. We played last night against the Bruins and got it done on Hockey Night in Canada. Let's cheer them on loud and get it done tonight. Come on, we got to keep winning these games. I had to put on my Austin Matthews jersey because, that performance last night, amazing. Thank you for being here. Please hit that like button down below. It helps bring more hockey fans here to the chat. As well, please share the link out. The amazing work that you guys have done over the last year of games here on Toronto Sports Insider is absolutely insane, and I can't thank you enough. So thank you for hitting the like button, and thank you for sharing it out. It really, really makes a difference. Now let's get back to the hockey. Go Leafs, go. We'll see you back in there.
It's a 2-1 lead for the Maple Leafs over the Philadelphia Flyers after 20 minutes. Alongside Justin Cuthbert, I'm Ailish Forfar. We're breaking down It was a pretty eventful first period there. Goals from both Matthew Knies and Oliver Ekman-Larsson on the Maple Leaf side, and Forster for the Flyers.
Yeah, 2 goals for the Maple Leafs, erasing an early one for the Philadelphia Flyers, and I was a little worried about Dennis Hildeby after that one went in, because it was a pretty clean shot from Tyson Forster that hit the back of the net on Dennis Hildeby, and it's kind of been a routine thing for Hildeby. His last start, 3 minutes 34 seconds in, gives up a goal. His previous start, 63 seconds in against Buffalo, gives up a goal. 2 goals in the first 6 minutes and a half versus Columbus in the previous start to that. So it's become a bit of a trend, but Hildeby was so good for the rest of that period. Credit to him for settling in.
Yeah, that might be the scouting report, because I was curious watching the shots, and Flyers were kind of throwing everything on net for the first 5 to 10 minutes, even shots from almost below the goal line. They were just trying to get everything on net. And maybe that's their scouting report too, is that maybe he takes a little bit to get settled in. But I will say the rest of that period, he had a couple really, really important saves, multiple looks. Like, I think he gives up some rebounds, we could say that. Some juicy rebounds, but he did a great job at least like not allowing the puck to get past him. Like, there was a couple times where they're just stuffing it into pads, and he was able to keep it out. So rebounds, don't love, but I love the ability to use. His legs must be as tall as us. Like, when he lays down in the butterfly, like, there's no empty net.
Thanks for letting everyone know how short I am, Ayla.
I said us.
Well, I'm included in that. Well, good thing, and it might be symptomatic of larger goaltenders, because as we mentioned, it might be the tallest goaltending matchup in history. 2 6'7" or 6'8" goaltenders in net, and the other guy, Ivan Fedotov, was giving up rebounds as well. The Leafs score
so many
both
rebounds.
of their goals on rebounds. The first being from Matthew Knies, gets his 4th goal in the span of, 26 hours. Been very, very productive day and a bit here for Matthew Knies. And he talked after last game about luck, and he said, quote, "Felt the luck back on my side." There was nothing lucky about the 3 goals he scored last night, but that one was a little bit lucky. Bounced right to him, and Matthew Knies gets to deposit the equalizer to start. And then you mentioned the Oliver Ekman-Larsson goal. I think 4 rebounds, or
the old poke goal.
Puck touched 4 different guys before he was able to poke it home. So Fedotov made some really good saves, like Hildeby, in the period, but both goaltenders having their issues with the rebounds. It's been worse for the Flyers so far in that regard.
If you're forward on either of the teams, just hang out around that crease, because there's going to be a puck bouncing out somewhere. Yeah, the OEL goal was funny, because I think all 3 of the Maple Leafs forwards tried to put the puck in the net, and it was like tic-tac-toe off of every body part, and then 3-4 rebounds come out, and then OEL just kind of one hand pokes it in and almost runs over the goaltender at it. So that was maybe not, it's the 2nd goal of the season. I'll be happy to have it anyway.
And some positive regression as it pertains to the blue line scoring.
They can't stop now.
Couldn't buy one in December. We get one last night from Jake McCabe, we'll get to in a second, and then one today from Oliver Ekman-Larsson.
Yes, okay, Jake McCabe. So at the end of the period, we were almost settled to come up to the booth, and there's about 6 seconds left. And he was going at it with Garrett Hathaway down in the corner in the Maple Leafs end. The puck was already back down into the Flyers end, so it kind of had both eyes on each situation. But a bit of a ruckus starting. McCabe clearly wanting to go at Hathaway, and then they do go, and it looks like Hathaway gets the best of him on the way down, and then kind of lands on his head as well. And it was a bit of a scary sight. McCabe tried to get up, and you could tell that he wasn't clearly there, and he fell backwards on his own, and then they had to come and get the players to help him off the ice. And you hate to see it with a guy who's had head injuries already this season. He had to miss a couple games. He didn't look like he'd be returning. I'm not a doctor, but it wasn't a comforting sight to see from someone that's been such a great staple on the blue line and a great defensive pairing.
No, it wasn't. We won't see Jake McCabe for the rest of the game, given what we saw. He clearly lost some level of consciousness, was able to skate off on his own power, but we will not see Jake McCabe for the rest of the night. Thankfully, you mentioned he missed games due to a head injury. Completely different thing. Hit in the back of the head with a puck previously, kind of in the neck region. This, clearly it was a pretty, decisive blow, whether it was him hitting his head on the ice or him receiving a punch on the way down. Either way, some concern for Jake McCabe, and will not be back tonight.
We'll take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side. Check out the out-of-town scoreboard and get you set for the 2nd period. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Get the official NHL app to watch, read, and listen to all the deeks.
All I can say is absolutely wow.
All the sauce. All the saves.
Stop from Vasilevsky.
All the hits. All the snipes. all the sellies.
He scores! Unbelievable!
All the hockey. If it's hockey, it's here. Listen to every NHL game for free, now with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Download the official NHL app now.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
The 2025 Honda Civic Hybrid is here, and it may sound too good to be true. With a 2-liter 4-cylinder backed by 2 electric motors, giving a combined 200 horsepower, it's our most powerful and fuel-efficient Civic ever. Plus, with an estimated range of over 800 kilometers and available features like a Bose premium sound system, your crew will love it too. Huh, maybe it should be called the Civic 2.0. Redefine your drive with the 2025 Civic Hybrid. Visit your Ontario Honda dealer and test drive yours today.
Over to our sideline reporter now with Bet and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 or older, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connectsontario.ca.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need when you need it 24/7, 365 every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
Ah, at last, the Subaru winter is here. It's the perfect weather for the beach. Feel the sun's rays on the small amount of skin peeking out of your ski mask. Put on your beach puffer and hear the sound of the waves crashing over the chatter of your teeth. Get out there in winter like it's summer with standard symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and advanced safety systems. Visit your local Subaru dealer today.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
He's got a partial breakaway. Scores! Holy mackerel, what a dagger!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. It's a 2-1 lead for the Leafs after 20 against Philadelphia Flyers. Let's take a look at the NHL scoreboard presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus, Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit connectsontario.ca.
5 games in the NHL today and tonight, including one final. The New York Rangers have found a team they can beat. That's the Chicago Blackhawks, 6-2 earlier today. 2 games in the second intermission. The Islanders have a 3-2 lead over the Boston Bruins, who lost to the Maple Leafs last night. And the Hurricanes have a 3-2 lead over the Pittsburgh Penguins. Still to come tonight, 8 p.m. start between the Tampa Bay Lightning, who continue their California road trip, in Anaheim.
All right, and how about the World Juniors, Justin?
Oh, sure. The World Junior Final is underway. We're in the first period, about halfway through, and Finland has a 1-0 lead over Team USA.
Upset territory. And
still early.
And Czechia won the bronze in a 19-round shootout over Sweden. 19
rounds?
Correct.
Wow.
The guy that scored, I think it was his 5th shootout attempt.
Shout out to the Czechs.
I love
Jonathan
it.
Taze-esque.
It is. All right, it's a 2-1 lead for the Leafs after 20 here at Scotiabank Arena, thanks to goals, again, by Matthew Knies and Oliver Ekman-Larsson. We'll take a break. We'll send it over to Jim Ralph and Joe Bowen, who will have the call the second period next. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
This week on Let's Go with Bill Belichick, Max Crosby, Peter King, and me, Jim Gray. Los Angeles Chargers coach Jim Harbaugh. Now you're back with an opportunity here in the playoffs. It happened pretty quick.
It feels good, really good. That's how it's felt, since day one, where everybody is doing anything and everything they can to help us be successful and to win. If you have that, it's just who could have it better.
Listen to the extended version of Let's Go, now available exclusively on the SiriusXM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
Vegas Golden Knights head coach Bruce Cassidy.
What gets you excited when you see their team, really starting to function at a high level?
Now you're bringing new guys in and creating a culture for them. I have always enjoyed that. Enjoyed it in Boston. Love it here. Two organizations with great culture and winning sort of attitudes. And we're seeing some young guys getting a little more responsibility and handling it well.
The Power Play. Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app.
The UEFA Champions League is back on Sirius XM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM. The best hockey lives here.
Burns gets it back, stick handles to the backhand, loose in front, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Join me, Scott Laughlin, and Gord Stellick, along with former NHLer Mike Johnson for NHL Morning Skate, weekday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio.
Hey, hockey fans, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This community is absolutely amazing. Just to think that a year ago, we were sitting at 6,000 subscribers. And now we're over 71,000 subscribers. We are on our way to that plaque. We're going to get it. 100K's on the way, but first, before that happens, we are going to do our best in the SickKids Football Frenzy promo. Thank you to everybody who has donated already. Big shout out to a $117 donation from an Irish fan. Go Notre Dame! And we'll see you back in the chat. Thank you for helping me create this amazing place where we hang out together every night and make a difference with SickKids Hospital in Toronto. So friggin' cool. We'll see you guys back in the chat.
Previous injury that kept him out of the lineup for an extended period. But hopefully Jake McCabe is okay. It seemed once he got his bearings right, he seemed to be okay, but I want to ask you this. We talked about the mentor's trip, the father's trip. If you got to pick somebody to go on a mentor's trip with you, who would it be?
Well, guy that I've worked many, many years with, who has helped foster my career, moving on.
No, it can't be me.
No, it'd be Armin.
Oh. no, I think they're supposed to be your mentor. You would mentor Armin yourself. Being like a coach growing up?
Yeah, but unfortunately at my age, they're not around.
No, I don't mean now, but I mean of all time. If you could ever pick anybody that was your mentor.
My dad, I guess, probably.
I do the same thing.
A public school teacher, Dick Anderson. When my dad died, Mr. Anderson would come and pick me up and drive me to practices and games and a lot of things. And I think that I owe him a great deal. Yeah. I think that would probably be the person, or Mr. Solfi, who was also a teacher in high school.
Yeah.
Who helped me out. All right, you brought this up, so I'm sure you have somebody.
Well, I mean, obviously, what gets difficult is I think anyone that played sports, their father was their mentor.
Yes.
And I mean, for me, my dad, 3 boys in hockey at the rink 5-6 days a week for years.
Yep.
So it's sometimes hard to separate, father and mentor to be the same thing.
But if it was not your dad, because you said that it couldn't be mine, so
probably either my brother Brent or Paul, because they made me feel better because they weren't as good as me playing. They were terrible. And it gave me the belief
that I could at least get out and center ice. Well, brothers, There goes your Christmas gift right there. Brought in by the Flyers, trying to get a shot away. He's Tippett. He's forced
But
it
as
away.
my brother Brent, who is a cop with Kyle Dubas' dad up in the Sioux, brings up to me, they got pensions.
Yeah, and you know what? You're going to get a ticket. Flyers play it off the boards and get it down to the Leaf blue line. Broken up there nicely by Chris Tanev. And Marner will regroup the puck, and now here's Tanev getting it out at center. Oliver Ekman-Larsson teamed up here with Tanev, at least to start with. Now, Oliver Ekman-Larsson playing with Benoit. So, Tanev's partner is not available. The Leafs will be scrambling a little bit with 5 defensemen.
Yeah, and the Leafs PR have just tweeted that Jake McCabe will not return tonight.
We pretty much knew that. Now Matthews intercepts a pass and gets it to Marner. Marner coming into the slot area, cooked the shot, and he just missed that far post. Pinching down to keep it in is Bobby McMahon, fresh off the boards, or off the bench. And now here the Flyers getting it up on the wing, and Couturier will send it down into the Leaf end. Leafs defending the goal to our left, Flyers to the right. 2-1 Toronto lead here in the second period. Robertson flipped it but didn't get it out. They force it to the line, and Robertson will skate it out now. Got it up on the wing, and a bouncing puck. He just does get it in over the line. Then got it freed up for Domi. Domi with a centering pass. Back to the point it comes. Myers with a shot. Blocking arm save made by Fedotov. Leafs keep the puck in. Back to the net for Bobby McMahon to Domi. Centering pass looking for Robertson just out of his reach. But the Leafs keep the puck in. Robertson far boards. Shields it nicely now as involved, and it comes back to the point. Nice play by Domi to keep it alive. Near side for Nylander. Back to the point it goes to Riley. His shot deflected off a leg and went wide. Bobby McMahon trying to shield the puck, and Robertson has it again. Robertson back into the corner for David Kemp. Kemp coming out of the corner, got it to the line, kept alive by Dewar, and then Dewar has it stripped, and now there's a whistle. High stick. I think the Flyers are getting a penalty here, Mr. Ralph.
Number 74, my penalty. Okay.
All right, Tippett getting a hooking call. And the Leafs are going to the power play for the first time for either team.
And for the Flyers, they've got, and we talked to Keith Jones, president of the Philadelphia Flyers, former player, former broadcaster. They haven't gone on a run yet like the Ottawa Senators did. Now, I think Ottawa's lost, 4 of their last 5, but they went on that great run to get back into the mix. Flyers are still in the mix.
Philadelphia penalty to number 74.
But they need a run.
They need a run.
Leafs on the power play. Marner to the right wing side. And a one-timer by Nylander went wide. Kept alive by the Maple Leafs, then stolen by the Flyers. And it is iced by Noah Cates.
Flyers penalty kill, by the way, comes in 25th in the NHL. Power plays 30. Oh, no. Sorry, I got Boston, so I got the wrong sheet on.
Oh, well, get on it. Here's Matthews in across the line. Into Marner, centering pass. Oh, and it was in behind its intended receiver, and that was Tavares. Had he got it on his forehand, he might have been able to pull the trigger, but the Flyers now trying to break on the right wing side. Sandheim with a pass in front that's blocked, and the Maple Leafs are out at center ice with it again. Left wing side for Matthews. Slides it off to Marner. Marner back to Matthews, quickly back into the slot for Riley! And he shot it wide. The rebound comes off the end boards and almost bounced right out in front of the net. But the Flyers will send it out and down the ice. Both teams changing.
Just heard from my brother.
I'll bet it was Poindant. Brought on now by Nylander.
Well, bite me is pointed.
Back to the point. Kept alive, but now knocked off the stick and down the ice. It'll go into the Toronto end.
Guess I'm not taking him now.
No. There goes the dinner date. Here's Nylander getting it down low. A centering pass! And trying to scoop it in there was Knies. And he was thwarted by the right pad of Fedotov. 15 seconds in the penalty. Nylander down behind the net. Centering pass. Domi with a drive. Oh, that struck one of the Flyers, who gets a pat on the rump from his goaltender. And that won't help the Bruins.
That was Nick Sealer. That's all you need after you block a shot. Is your goalie to give you a hack and thank you in the back.
Yeah, now I got two things that are sore. The Leafs get it down, the penalty over. Puck to the near point for Tanev. Played around back of the net. Lorenz getting it back to the blue line. D to D, it comes to Tanev. Shot well wide of the goal to the side of the net. Trying to get it out in front, but it comes free, and Frost will try to work his way out of his own zone. Morgan Frost, the son of Andy Frost, a long-time PA announcer here. I don't know if he was with Scotiabank or just Air Canada Center. And it was here.
Well, I'm sure Andy's here.
Yep. Long shot goes wide of the Toronto goal, and it is brought out at center ice by Lorenz. And he'll flip in and get a change of players started for Toronto. Sandheim back of the goal. Got it to the Leaf blue line. Turned over there. The Leafs punch it back at center. Another turnover, and Konechny gets it in over the line, but the Leafs have restored it. And a long lead pass gets up on the right side for Matthews. Matthews across the line, had it roll off his stick. Knies trying to dig it back, and they do. Riley keeps it alive for Toronto. Back to Marner, and a pass into the corner for Knies. Knies takes his man to the boards, but the Flyers have it there, and a long lead pass has gone astray, but it was right on goal, and Hildeby has to steer it aside.
Funny thing was, all three Leaf players that were back all peeled away at the same time. So Hildeby threw it to the corner. The Leafs had to backtrack to get it.
He had to guard against that icing goal that you talked about, too. Bouncing puck controlled by Knies. Flipped in there by Benoit around back of the Flyer goal. And the Flyers will try to work their way out. Long lead pass up on the left wing and across the line for Joel Farabee, and on the right side a centering pass and a stop made by Hildeby. Puck is at the side of the goal, and the big lanky goaltender has it underneath one of his extremities to hold it out, and a face-off coming in the Toronto zone. 12:45 to play second period, and the Leafs hanging on to a 2-1 lead.
I'll tell you, both goaltenders have settled in quite nicely, haven't they? Both gave up goals early in the game. As, finally we're going to head to a break. But, by the 4:02 mark, it was 1-1. But both goaltenders have come up with some big stops since.
2-1 Leafs. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win, breakaway, pick six, three-point shot, underdog win, buzzer beater, shootout, walk-off, and absolutely every play in between is amazing. From football to basketball and hockey to baseball, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. 19+. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Visit connexontario.ca.
The 2025 Honda Civic Hybrid is here, and it may sound too good to be true. With a 2-liter 4-cylinder backed by 2 electric motors, giving a combined 200 horsepower, it's our most powerful and fuel-efficient Civic ever. Plus, with an estimated range of over 800 kilometers and available features like a Bose premium sound system, your crew will love it too. Maybe it should be called the Civic 2.0. Redefine your drive with the 2025 Civic Hybrid. Visit your Ontario Honda dealer and test drive yours today.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need when you need it 24/7, 365 every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Beginning of the season, we kind of thought, well, how could this team improve? Well, Matthew Knies had to be better. Well, his 15th goal scored here tonight equals his career high. So, he is well on his way to having a real breakout season. Centering pass stopped by Hildeby on the short side. And the Leafs are able to break it out at center ice. Played in over the line by Lorentz and into the corner it goes. Dewar trying to get it around on the far side. Camp sends it back from whence it came. Dewar doing diligent work along the near boards. Got it freed up for Lorentz. Lorentz dropping it back for Camp. Camp looking back to the point. Finds Tanev with a shot and a kick save made there by Fedotov. Cleared to the line, and Camp shows you that he will not be the first baseman on the slow pitch team as he could not glove that easy fly ball and it went out to center ice. Played down into the center ice area and down towards the Leaf goal. Hildeby playing it back. Myers off the glass and out at center ice it goes. Zamula trying to send it back in, but the linesman says offside. And James Tobias has stuck around. He's one of the linesmen. He worked the game last night. Ryan Jackson and the other linesmen, Jean Hebert and Ghislain Hebert, are the referees here this evening.
Our buddy Stan brought this stat in, which is hard to fathom. The Philadelphia Flyers, who came in 1967 when the league expanded from 6 to 12 teams, have never had a player win Rookie of the Year. Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, even with Eric Lindros, right? That would have been the easy thought process.
You know, since 67, they've only had top three picks.
Wow.
In their history.
Couturier centering pass went astray back at the blue line. Well, it shows you how successful they have been, right? That speaks volumes in that department. At the point, Ristolainen's shot was blocked. Leafs don't get it out. Robertson now does, and then it's quickly brought in offside by Garnet Hathaway, and there'll be a face-off in the center ice area with 11:13 to play. Second period, the Leafs hanging on to the 2-1 lead built in the first 20 minutes.
All right, now can you name the top three picks that they've had in history, which is incredible.
I knew James Van Riemsdyk was one because I mean him coming here, and we talked about that.
Nolan Patrick is a little more recent in 2017, but then you've got to go all the way back to 1975. Wow. Mel Bridgman.
Isn't that something?
I'm not sure how they got a top three pick in 75 after winning back-to-back cups.
Well, even Bobby Clark.
That was a late pick.
No, yeah. Penalty coming to Toronto. And it might be Knies who got his stick in the way, trying to thwart one of the Flyers, and it turns into a tripping minor. And so the Flyers are going to go to their first power play opportunity. Penalty kill brought to you by your Ontario Honda dealers. Get home ice advantage on every drive with the new Civic Hybrid. Proudly made in Ontario. Available now at your Ontario Honda dealer.
And the Flyers, 28th in the NHL on the power play. And they're currently on a streak. They're 2 for 5 in the last 2 games. So they've scored a power play goal in each of the last 2 after an 0 for 16 stretch in the 8 games before that.
Leafs penalty kill has given up 3 and 12 times short over the last 6 games. So when you think about 6 games and only being shorthanded 12 times, it's one way of really improving your penalty kill, isn't it? Don't take any.
Yeah. And then, I mean, they don't get a lot of power plays either. So now the power play tonight was 117 on the air. This penalty kill will be 125. And then again, we always laugh at this when it seems like you look at the other teams. Philly now is 108. Power plays 107 times short.
It evens up. Along the boards, Konechny. Back to the point, wrist shot coming, that's blocked, and quickly sending it down the ice is David Kemp. Leafs will exchange, and here's another member of the fourth line out penalty killing, and Connor Dewar. Flyers get it ahead at center and to the line and in. Poked into the corner. Benoit forces it back along the boards. Grabbed off by Farabee, who gets it back to the blue line. Moved over on the near side for Konechny. Konechny dropping it back to the point. Swept over by Drysdale far side. It comes back to the blue line again. Now Konechny on the near half boards. Konechny down into the corner. Round back of the net, looks to get a return pass, and Konechny has it. Konechny centers, and it went through the blue paint, but no one there to redirect. Back to the blue line once more. Kept alive by Drysdale into the corner. Centering pass to Konechny on the near side. Blocked by Chris Tanev. Cleared out and down the ice by Dewar. Blocked by Tanev. That is a recording that is music to every goaltender in the blue and white's ears.
I tell you though, Joe, what's sort of underrated about him is his hockey intelligence. You got to know the lane to be in, and he makes a lot of great little plays, 4-foot passes to get it out of the zone.
Kept alive by the Flyers. Now on the wing, a shot swallowed up by Hildeby, and he'll stop play to bring a face-off with 22 seconds left to go in the power play for Philadelphia as the Leafs lead 2-1.
No, I believe it was going into the game against Boston. Tanev was one shot block behind Jacob Trouba. He may have, in this game, might be up a dozen now. Because it seems, even the game last night against Boston, there seemed to be a number of opportunities, and Tanev was able to get that big body in front of him.
Matthews and Marner, the two penalty-killing forwards now with 20 seconds left in the infraction. The puck along the near boards and in the corner, jammed in there diligently by the Leaf defense along with Matthews. Puck comes free, banked off the boards and shot down the ice by Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who has the go-ahead goal scored in the first period. Penalty expires. Fedotov rather emphatically letting everybody know with the slamming of his stick. Here are the Flyers in on the left wing. Shot, scores! A centering pass finds Scott Laughton. And the game is tied at 2.
Willie Nylander tried to pick it off the boards and couldn't control it, and seconds later it's in the back of the net. And does this hit a Leaf? Or does that get all the way across? But Willie Nylander tried to pick it up and went off his skate and onto a Flyer's stick. And seconds later, it's thrown across the top of the crease. And yeah, I think this is, the tap in.
Morgan Riley was right there, but didn't get his stick on it. And for Laughton, that is goal number 9 on the season. Flyers tie the game after the penalty had expired. They'll flip it down into the Toronto zone. Forster sending it into the corner. Leafs turn away with it, and it is Lorenz skating it out at center. Played it ahead and gets a return pass. He's going to the front of the net with a centering pass. Oh, and a big save off of Pacioretty made there by Fedotov. Flyers get it back into the Leaf end. Benoit up ahead at center. Lorenz couldn't spring Pacioretty, who's out there along with Tavares. Tavares for Laughton, or for Lorenz rather, into the corner for Pacioretty, back into the slot. Wrist shot taken by Riley, has ramped off a stick and gone up into the screen and out of play. So Laughton from Couturier and Ristolainen is the scoring play that has deadlocked this game at 2s. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan, Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Are you ready to thrive in 2025? Kickstart your personal upgrade on the SiriusXM app with our collection of top self-improvement podcasts.
The Mel Robbins Podcast.
The Ramsey Show.
Ask Eliza anything.
Soundtracks for meditation.
Learn and grow on a daily basis.
Genre-spanning workout channels and more.
Soul Cycle Radio.
Hey you. Yeah, you. Thank you for hanging out with us now that we finally have your attention, the Leafs and the Flyers. Please hit that subscribe button down below and turn on the bell if you haven't already. I know that a lot of you have already, and I thank you. And it is because of you that we have this amazing community to watch sports, listen to sports, hang out together, enjoy ourselves, keeping it classy, having a good time. It's what it's all about. And oh yeah, making a difference with SickKids Hospital in Toronto. Go Leafs, go! Thank you for hitting that subscribe button and becoming an insider. Now let's go, buds. Let's get it done tonight. Let's keep this hot streak rolling.
1,600 points, 3 Stanley Cups, and 2 Conn Smythes. Wayne and Sid. Just like it absolutely blows your mind how good Sidney Crosby is and how much we take him for granted.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
Radio Network.
Leafs 2, Flyers 2. Second period has 7:55 to go in it. Flyers to our right, Leafs to the left.
For Scott Laughton, by the way, his 9th goal of the season, 4 of them coming in one game. The only player in the NHL to score 4 in a game this year.
Icing is going to be called here on puck that just did get over the goal line. So it's coming back into the Flyer end. Domi is out there with Robertson and McMahon.
And we've seen in the last 10 games or so, this line carried the team. This is the first time that they busted out. Was that in Dallas, maybe?
Yep.
Followed it up in Buffalo.
Little type being shown on the big screen. He can't be more than a couple of months old. Leafs win the faceoff, but it gets by Morgan Riley and down into Toronto territory, and Oliver Ekman-Larsson will get it up ahead. Here's Bobby McMahon skating through neutral ice and in and dropping for Robertson. Got a shot away, but it's swallowed up by Ivan Fedotov. And the Maple Leafs now with 16 shots on goal. The Flyers with 19. And a 2-2 tie.
17 Leafs. 17.
Changes all the time. But then you are in charge of that.
I was staring at it as I did that. Well,
they're not quick.
Well, like you said, you got to know your role, right?
Yes.
I know what I'm supposed to do.
Yes.
Shut up when goals are being scored. And I mentioned the shots on goal. Then they change.
You know what? And that's not an easy job. The shutting up part, I mean.
No. I'm working on it.
Oh, good. Flip to the blue line in the Leaf zone. And Myers got it for Marner. Tried to connect there with Matthews. That was broken up. Now here's Morgan Riley. He'll play it deep into the Flyer zone. Knies trying to block a pass, but Matthews got to it. Plays it back to the point. Shot by Myers goes high and wide. Now Knies in the corner, kicking it back in the net. Got it out in front, but it was well out of the reach of Marner. And the Flyers have played it down into the Toronto end. Leafs 2 and the Flyers 2. A quick pass on the left wing. And a shot in wide of the net by Lorenz. Goes around back of the goal. Lorenz with a hefty hit in there on Zamula. And the puck comes back out into the center ice area. Knocked down on the play was Connor Dewar, but the Flyers now on the left wing side will send it deep as Cam York gets it into the Leaf end. The pass went off the skate of Tanev, was going towards what was an empty net because Hildeby had taken the other course to get from the back of the net back into the crease.
It's like I'm watching a vase roll off a table.
You just know it's going to be bad. Yeah. Shot down into the Toronto zone. Around back of the net. Benoit couldn't get it out. I correct myself. He did get it out, and then it was brought in offside by the Philadelphia Flyers with exactly 6 minutes to play in the second period. And this really does feel like a game that's being played after a pretty good game last night.
Yeah, after the emotional game. I mean, one of the things that is kind of unique is Daniel Briere, who's now the general manager of the Philadelphia Flyers, invited Sean Couturier to live with him when Couturier was a rookie. And do you think there was any kind of discussion that, hey, down the road I'll look after you, you can get your own place?
That's right. Played around back of the net. Centering pass by Nylander went astray. The Flyers play it off a skate to the Toronto blue line. Punch back out into neutral ice. Philadelphia will have to wait for teammates to get onside. Jamie Drysdale sends an errant pass, and the quickness of Oliver Ekman-Larsson provides an icing.
Yeah.
So it'll come back into the Philadelphia zone.
Now, I like this one. We got this one from Stan as well. Matthew Knies is the only player to be a +6 in a game this season. The last Leaf to be +6 in a single game was Ian White, January 4th, 2007.
Whitey, isn't that great?
Yeah, and Andrew and I were talking about it up here, remembering that game. Matt Stajan and Alex Steen both had big nights.
A pass in front of the goal, and Knies had it roll off the heel of his stick. Tom Young pushing buttons back there, and we've got Andrew Holland here. Not really sure what he's doing, but he got everything tidied up after last night, which was nice. I think he slept over. Brought in now, and a wrist shot goes off a stick and up into the screen and out of play.
Bet you Tom would be Andrew's mentor.
Yeah.
If there was a mentor's trip.
Yeah, if there was a mentor's trip.
Armin would take me.
Why? Just because you're a nice fella. You're one of the fellas.
I just mentioned his name on the radio.
Well,
why wouldn't he?
That's enough. Yeah. 5:03 to play in the second period. We're tied at 2s. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need when you need it 24/7, 365 every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
The 2025 Honda Civic Hybrid is here, and it may sound too good to be true. With a 2-liter 4-cylinder backed by 2 electric motors, giving a combined 200 horsepower, it's our most powerful.
Hey, hockey fans! Once again, thank you so much for hanging out with us for the Leafs here on TSI. Tonight, we've got the Philadelphia Flyers. It's Sunday night. We played last night against the Bruins and got it done on Hockey Night in Canada. Let's cheer them on loud and get it done tonight. Come on, we got to keep winning these games. I had to put on my Austin Matthews jersey because, that performance last night, amazing. Thank you for being here. Please hit that like button down below. It helps bring more hockey fans here to the chat. As well, please share the link out. The amazing work that you guys have done over the last year of games here on Toronto Sports Insider is absolutely insane, and I can't thank you enough. So thank you for hitting the like button, and thank you for sharing it out. It really, really makes a difference. Now let's get back to the hockey. Go Leafs, go. We'll see you back in there.
Here's 2, and if the Leafs get a third, they've been pretty good. 23-1-1 this season when they've scored 3 or more goals in a hockey game.
2 pretty important empty netters last night. How many games you get one team wins in regulation when both goalies have given up the same number of goals, right?
Yes. Played to center and brought in over the line by Matthews, going wide, and he couldn't get a shot away as it was knocked off his stick. Flyers counter. Ryan Poehling trying to get in over the line. Works into the corner. Played it around back of the net. Chipped to the near boards. Cut off there by Rustalainen. Played down into the corner for Konechny. Konechny back to Rustalainen. Rustalainen along the boards. It'll go back into the empty corner on the far side. Flyers quickly there. Matthews bumped into his man. Puck still free. Back of the net for Tippett. Back to the point once more. Fed over on the far side by Zamula. Shot into the glove of Dennis Hildeby. And he will hold on for a face-off coming in the Toronto zone. So just when everybody got healthy, we find Jake McCabe now not able to continue tonight after the fight that he had with Garnet Hathaway, but hopefully he will be back in the not-too-distant future.
That's a pretty good shift by the Flyers to keep the Matthews line in their own ends.
Domi lost the draw. A wrist shot went wide of the Leaf goal. Played around back of the net. Camp ties up his man. The puck goes loose into the corner. Laughton gets it back to the point. Backhanded by Sandheim down into the corner again. Flyers trying to cycle the puck. Get it back to the point. Penalty coming to Toronto. Sandheim in with a backhand try. That was stopped by Hildeby. Leafs don't get to the puck yet. Flyers trying to center. And it knocked into the near corner. And it'll be touched here by Max Domi. And a holding call is coming from referee Ghislain Hebert.
Toronto number 64, minor penalty, holding.
David Camp, who is usually out to take the opening draw on a penalty kill, is going to the box for the Leafs. That's back-to-back shifts, so the Leafs are caught in their own end. Flyers don't score, but as soon as that stick and that hand comes off the stick, there's any kind of reach, you're going to get called if Camp is gone.
Well, that's just his second penalty of the season, as we talked about earlier. Penalty kill brought to you by our Ontario Honda dealers. Get home ice advantage on every drive with the new Civic Hybrid, proudly made in Ontario. As the Leafs turn, and Matthews sends it out and down the ice. 3:38 to play, second period. Flyers 2 and the Leafs 2, and Philadelphia on their second opportunity with a man advantage. Frost gets it off on the right wing and in over the line. Played down into the corner. Intercepted by Toronto and rung around the boards by Benoit out and down the ice.
Fedotov came out to play it, but actually fell halfway there.
Didn't see that. I was looking at a note. Oops. Fed down into the corner. Flyers get it back to the point. Walking the line, Drysdale to feed it off on the right wing side at the half boards. Drysdale gets it back. Near side for Konechny. Konechny's pass broken up in the slot, but a quick shot taken there by Tippett was blocked before it reached the goal. Konechny on the near half boards. Dropping it back again for Drysdale over on the right wing side. A centering pass comes back to Konechny. Top of the circles into the goal crease area. Played into the corner by the Maple Leafs. Fed around the boards then by Frost. It'll go to the right wing side. Flyers with 43 seconds left in the power play. Back to the point to Drysdale. Drysdale into the far half boards. Looking for a man in front. Goes to Frost back of the net. Trying to flip it. Nope. Going to hang on to it. Plays it back into the corner. Slop shot into the slot is gobbled up by Hildeby.
Boy, Owen Tippett with a one-timer there found some open ice. As the Leafs, I think, collapsed a little too much. As Owen Tippett in the high slot, 1x1, but Hildeby was able to turn square up and probably more importantly get to the top of the crease and cut down the angle, use that big frame.
29 seconds left in the power play.
And you know the shortest goalie in the league right now, Joe?
No.
UC Saros, 5'11".
That's a long way from 5'5".
Yeah.
Brought to center by the Flyers now. Shot into the Leaf zone with a dozen seconds left in the penalty. Tanev couldn't pin the puck to the boards. Flyers keeping it in. Back to the point. It goes to Ristolainen. Ristolainen's pass blocked in there. Good hit by Benoit. Out of the penalty box comes Camp. Flyers back of the net with Ristolainen trying to center, and Camp got his stick in the way and plays the puck around back of the net. Leafs will organize, finding Tanev available on the right wing boards. He gets it off the stick of Lorenz into the offensive zone, and wholesale changes with a minute and a half to go in the period as the Leafs come over the boards. Laughton on the left wing. Knocked off his stick by Myers. Gets it again as he works back towards the blue line and into the slot. Got a shot away. That was deflected wide. Domi trying to get it out. One hands it ahead at center for Nylander. Nylander's bringing it back into his own zone. The Leafs are stretching things out. Myers, left wing side, Riley, and shot into the Flyer end. Fedotov couldn't block it back in the net. Leafs keep it in at the near point. Fed back in by Myers behind the net for Nylander. Nylander works to the far boards, back of the net for Domi. He reverses his field to go back into the far corner. Back to the point it comes. A pass on the right side for Tanev. Shot deflected and fooled Fedotov, but went harmlessly over top of the net and wide of the goal. Flyers play it down into the Leaf end. Tanev deflecting it down into Philadelphia territory. Knies into the forecheck. Played to an open corner. Matthews down the boards. Couldn't steal it away. Flyers with 20 seconds left now. 3-on-2 rush in over the line into the slot. A shot. And that was blocked before it reached Dennis Hildeby. Found back of the net, back to the point. Ristolainen trying to get a deflection in front that didn't work. 4 seconds left in the period as it comes to the point. Long shot. Hildeby has to make a save as the horn brings an end to the period.
Now, I know we said this before the third period, the Leafs in Long Island to play the Islanders.
Yes.
That it was only the fourth time this year that the Leafs had entered the third period tied.
Oh, and now what?
3 in a row. Game last night against the Bruins. Here tonight, and of course, they came back. Now, going into that third period against the Islanders, they were 0-2-1 in the 3 previous times. They were tied after 2, but they beat the Islanders and a win over the Boston Bruins with good third periods last night with a difference. They got to do it again tonight.
1 goal in the period, and that was Scott Laughton tying the game at 11:08 from Couturier and Ristolainen. Shots were low, 7-6 favoring Philadelphia in the middle stanza. We'll step aside as Ailish Forfire and Justin Cuthbert will take you through our second period intermission. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
To truly go inside the game of pro football, you need to see things from the player's perspective.
Let's go.
Every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, catch the Player's Point.
Let's go. Let's bring energy.
Join NFL tight end Colin Thompson and Miami Dolphins fullback Alec Ingold as they break down the biggest stories in the NFL.
It's an encouraging way to look at football.
The Player's Point. Every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern on NFL Radio, Channel 88 in the car and on the all-new Sirius XM app.
What's up, Leafs fans? Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight, the Leafs and the Flyers on back-to-back nights. Coming off a huge win against the Bruins, now's the time of the show. Please let us know in the chat where Leafs Nation is gathering from all over the world. Are you in Toronto? Are you in Western Canada, Eastern Canada? Are you in the United States like me, or all over the world like Popo and the list goes on? Thank you all for hanging out with us and letting us know where you're watching from. Now let's get back to the hockey. Go Leafs, go! Let's make it 3 in a row.
Always enjoyed that, enjoyed it in Boston, love it here. 2 organizations with great culture and winning sort of attitudes, and we're seeing some young guys getting a little more responsibility and handling it well.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app. 24/7 hockey talk.
To understand that you are allowed to legally still check the head, not just the head. The head by itself is a penalty. If you wanted to change it, that would be like in the IIHF. That's probably a penalty at the Olympics. That's probably at the World Juniors. That guy's gone and suspended. I ask you, do you want that?
Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app. Hockey 24/7 on Sirius XM NHL Network Radio.
The only 2 players in the history of the National Hockey League to have 600 goals, 1,600 points, 3 Stanley Cups, and 2 Conn Smythes. Wayne and Sid. Just like, it absolutely blows your mind how good Sidney Crosby is and how much we take him for granted.
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app. The big names are on NHL Network Radio.
The Executive Director, Vice President of Hockey Operations for the NHL, Colin Campbell.
The one thing that we're wrestling right now, like, when do you change a call? We talk about a listening device in the referee's ear. Do we make that next step? How more perfect can we make a game through video review and helping the officials on the ice?
Sirius XM NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
The UEFA Champions League is back on Sirius XM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Mo Salah.
Now, with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter. Haaland scores the hat-trick.
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. We're tied at 2 after 40 minutes between the Leafs and the Flyers. Ailish Forfar alongside Justin Cuthbert as we break down what was a pretty dull period, Justin.
Yeah, not a very good period for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Outscored 1-0, now facing an uncertain third period. This is such a Torts team. Like, it's almost faceless. It's almost anonymous.
Wow.
It looks very similar shift after shift.
I said to you, I was like, is Matvei Michkov even playing? Like, he
barely
hasn't even
notice
stood
him.
out to me.
Guys don't look different, and the only guys that do look a little bit different are the ones that are a little grittier than the others. You know, Garnet Hathaway getting involved clearly with Jake McCabe, Scott Laughton scoring the goal in the period with a just an energy play basically to the back door after an energy-less play from William Nylander, which got him a seat on the bench for most of the second period. So, you know, usually we're talking blender at this point when it's not going well. Today we're talking about, you know, a Maple Leafs team that is, after maybe some frustration, sat one of its most important players in William Nylander, at least limiting him to 2 shifts after his role in that Flyers goal.
Yeah, and I think deservingly so. Like, last night was a great game. This team won 6-4, and the whole top line was buzzing, and it shouldn't feel like such a dramatic drop-off to that second line. And we talked about that like slightly in our pregame show. We're giving all this praise to Matthews, Marner, and Knies, and then, you know, I guess if you were going to nitpick, it was kind of like, where's that second line? And I feel the same way again tonight. I was just looking to see when the last time William Nylander scored, and it wasn't since before the Christmas break on December 21st against the Islanders. He had 2. I remember that game, but he hasn't really contributed much in terms of goal scoring since then, and he can't disappear if he's not on that top line. It can't be such a now a Matthew Knies, Mitch Marner, and Austin Matthews show that the second line feels like they're not producing. I really liked Tavares and Pacioretty together for a good stretch of this season, but even tonight I was kind of like, I need a little bit more from that line in general, and I don't know if Willie just isn't loving it, but he had to sit on the bench for, and I feel like he'd rather be on the ice than not. So he has got to give like a little bit more effort in those small plays, and it cost him a goal.
Yeah, certainly. Yesterday we were talking about how the Maple Leafs had kind of hit the wall without Austin Matthews. It was pretty clear that they needed him back. And we've talked a lot this season about how William Nylander doesn't really matter where he's at, who he's playing with. He's going to be productive, at least relatively so. But he seemed like he was the guy who was suffering the most by the end of the Matthews absence. He had 5 straight games without a goal before Matthews' return. He was dashed 2 yesterday in what was like a game that featured, you know, star players predominantly, more so than anything else, doing exciting things in the Nylander unit, and Nylander himself wasn't good. And now we're looking at, you know, 7 straight games for Nylander where it's been productive, or it hasn't been productive, and it's been lackluster, and it's been kind of gradually eroding this entire time. So I think it was maybe not well-deserved. You skate over a puck, it ends up in the back of the net, you wind up on the bench, just that like one moment, maybe that's not justifiable, but I think this is something clearly that's been building for Greg Berube.
We also did get confirmation that McCabe won't be coming back. Obviously, we felt that was going to be the case after that injury at the end of the play, at the end of the first period, due to kind of a fight and falling, but it looks like he has been officially ruled out, and man, you feel a big difference on the back end when there's no McCabe. Like that McCabe-Tanev shutdown is such a staple now. It's a luxury almost, and as soon as he's out and they kind of have to go blender there on the back end, like I really missed his presence, and I hope that his absence isn't, you know, too lengthy. Of course, we don't know yet, but didn't look great. But I mean, they got to get him back to shut this down.
Yeah, it's rare to see like the slump shoulders from Chris Tanev, pucks in the back of the net, and you're maybe pulling it out yourself. We don't see that often because Chris Tanev's been so good defensively, but he's on a pairing with Morgan Rielly. Morgan Rielly doesn't make a play at the back door, and Scott Laughton puts it home, and it's 2-2, and that's generally more often than not happening when McCabe and Tanev are out there together. You could look at Rielly as much as you look at Nylander on that play, but they can't afford to sit Morgan Rielly down right now, given that they're already down to McCabe, and they're using a couple guys who are, I don't know, not definitely locks to play on any place a postseason roster in Simone Benoit and Philippe Myers, so they're already at a little bit of a deficit on the blue line, and Morgan Rielly, frankly, like Nylander, needs to be better.
Yeah. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back with out-of-town scoreboard and a couple more thoughts before we send to the third. It's a 2-2 tie after 40 minutes between the Maple Leafs and the Flyers. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, the fan of the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
The 2025 Honda Civic Hybrid is here, and it may sound too good to be true. With a 2-liter 4-cylinder backed by 2 electric motors, giving a combined 200 horsepower, it's our most powerful and fuel-efficient Civic ever. Plus, with an estimated range of over 800 kilometers and available features like a Bose premium sound system, your crew will love it too. Huh, maybe it should be called the Civic 2.0. Redefine your drive with the 2025 Civic Hybrid. Visit your Ontario Honda dealer and test drive yours today.
Over to our sideline reporter now with the app and see why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 or older, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connectsontario.ca.
NHLshop.ca, the official online store of the National Hockey League. And Canada's largest selection of officially licensed NHL fan gear. With unique one-of-a-kind designs by Fanatics. And all the latest styles for every NHL team. Don't miss out. Shop now and get today's special offer. NHLshop.ca, a Fanatics experience.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need when you need it 24/7, 365 every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
Ah, at last, the Subaru winter is here. It's the perfect weather for the beach. Feel the sun's rays on the small amount of skin peeking out of your ski mask. Put on your beach puffer and hear the sound of the waves crashing over the chatter of your teeth. Get out there in winter like it's summer with standard symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and advanced safety systems. Visit your local Subaru dealer today.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
Long shot, deflects in front of the goal. They backhand it into the net.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, the fan of the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Ailish Forfar and Justin Cuthbert with your intermissions. It's a 2-2 tie after 40 minutes between the Maple Leafs and the Philadelphia Flyers. Let's take a look at the NHL scoreboard presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit connexontario.ca.
We are up to 3 finals in the NHL today as the league clears its schedule, I guess, in time for Sunday night football in a way. The Rangers got a 6-2 victory over the Blackhawks earlier this afternoon. Just ending recently 2 overtime games. The Islanders beat the Bruins 5-4, and the Hurricanes got a 4-3 victory over the Penguins. So just the 1 point for the Bruins this weekend, maybe further incentivizing the Maple Leafs here. And the only other game ongoing, the Ducks hold a 2-0 advantage after 1 over the Tampa Bay Lightning.
And it is 3-1 for the Finnish team over the Americans in the gold medal game. of the World Juniors. I don't know how that makes the whole Canada. Maybe we feel better about ourselves if Finland wins.
I guess we could take some solace in that, but
because didn't the Finns beat USA in the gold medal game a couple years ago?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot.
Sorry, I think I saw that, but like I've seen it happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like Canada. It's not a guarantee. It's not a guarantee for the United States either. Although I wouldn't count the United States out yet. There could be some dramatics still at the World Junior Hockey Championship. But yeah, Finland's the one team Canada beat.
I'm double checking. They have. They won in 2019 and 2016.
There you go.
The Finnish.
Kasperi Kapanen made his legend there, didn't he? 2016.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Well, we have some Finns on. We have no Finns. What do we do? Hakanpää. Hakanpää is probably streaming up in the press box.
Yeah, he's in the press box somewhere.
Finish.
Collecting how much money?
Game. There you go. And he's looking forward to his opportunity to represent Finland at the Four Nations.
Face-Off.
Maybe.
Almost by default.
There you go. All right, it's a 2-2 tie after 40 minutes. So, I mean, what has to happen here? Get that top line out there as much as possible. They're the only team, or the only three that are really producing shots and pressure.
Yeah, and it feels like Hildeby's going to have to be really strong because we've seen kind of the same thing from the Flyers both periods, which is, it's not the great team, not a great offense, not the most dangerous unit whatsoever, but they're going to force Hildeby into some saves, so hopefully he can continue what has been pretty strong play so far in this game.
Yeah, Flyers out shooting the Leafs 23-18, but it is a 2-2 tie after 40 minutes. We'll send it to Joe Bone and Jim Ralph, who have the call of the third period next. You've been listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
24/7 hockey talk.
To understand that you are allowed to legally still check the head, not just the head. The head by itself is a penalty. If you wanted to change it, that would be like in the IIHF. That's probably a penalty at the Olympics. That's probably at the World Juniors. That guy's gone and suspended. I ask you, do you want that?
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. Hockey 24/7 on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio.
The only two players in the history of the National Hockey League to have 600 goals, 1,600 points, 3 Stanley Cups, and 2 Conn Smythes. Wayne and Sid. Just like it absolutely blows your mind how good Sidney Crosby is and how much we take him for granted.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
Vegas Golden Knights head coach Bruce Cassidy.
What gets you excited when you see their team, really starting to function at a high level?
Now you're bringing new guys in and creating a culture for them. I have always enjoyed that, enjoyed it in Boston, love it here. 2 organizations with great culture and winning sort of attitudes, and we're seeing some young guys getting a little more responsibility and handling it well.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
The UEFA Champions League is back on Sirius XM FC, and this year it's bigger than ever.
Absolutely ridiculous from Real Madrid. Merseyside magic from Mo Salah.
Now with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scores the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on Sirius XM FC 157 and the all-new Sirius XM app.
The best hockey lives here.
Burns gets it back. Stick handles to the backhand. Moves in front. Score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
Only goal of the second period was scored by the Philadelphia Flyers. That in itself is a little bit of a strange occurrence. Maple Leafs have owned the second period. They are plus 19, 53 and 4 and 34 against, but the Flyers were minus 19, 36-4 and 55 against. But get the goal that ties the game at 2s as we head to the third period.
I was just talking about that during the intermission on how many trends all of a sudden stop, right? Leafs defense haven't scored a goal since November 30th, now scoring back-to-back games. Tampa Bay Lightning, one of the highest scoring teams in the NHL, now have trouble scoring.
Matthew Knies had trouble scoring. Now he's got 5 goals in 5 periods. Or 4 goals in 5 periods. Back to the point. A shot from the blue line whistled wide of the Leaf goal. They defend the goal to our right. And the Flyers are 2 hours left in a 2-2 tie. Philadelphia get in over the line. Rubbed out on the boards there was Noah Cates. And now Benoit circles the goal and waits for teammates to come over the boards. Through center, a pass missed Matthews and has gone down into the Flyer end. Icing waved off. Flyers sending it high through Konechny to get it down on the left wing. Here's Tippett trying to drive the net, but he was run off to the side, and an easy save made there by goaltender Dennis Hildeby of the Leafs. Flyers keep the puck in now down in the Toronto zone. Matthews trying to dig it away, and Marner has, and it is Oliver Ekman-Larsson giving the puck away on a pass intended for Matthews. Oliver Ekman-Larsson gets it free. Marner gets it wrapped off the boards to center, and the Leafs are in a change. Through all of this, and in the last little while, Willie Nylander's offense has dried up a little bit.
Yeah, he's not scored in his last 7.
Played high, and it's gone knocked over the boards into the Toronto bench out of play.
But even in the last 2, Nylander is pointless. Just 5 assists. I shouldn't say just 5 assists. You're still getting production from him, though, in his last 6. John Tavares has 1 assist in the last 2 games after having an 8-game point streak where he had 7 goals and 13 points in an 8-game stretch.
Might be a nice time to break out here in the third period. Pass ahead by Robertson. Got a little bit too far for Bobby McMahon. Robertson brought it in on a delayed offside, but now the Flyers are regrouping as it is deflected on a bounce down on Hildeby. And as it rolls into his goal crease, he will put the big catching mitt on it and stop play with the face-off coming in the Toronto zone.
Sure, Austin Matthews as well. I mean, you come back, you miss 6 games this time that you're out of the lineup, and you come back and it's back-to-back games, right? So, conditioning, everything else is going to be pushed to the max. Matthews did have an assist in the Matthew Knies goal in the first period.
Played around the boards to the line and out and down the ice. No icing. Fedotov, the goaltender, playing it off to his defense. Good play by Bobby McMahon to almost steal the puck, but the Flyers get it out at center. Brought in on the left wing and rattled around the boards. It'll come to the near side for Scott Laughton. Back to the point, just kept in there by Sandheim. Back to the net for Philadelphia, trying to flip it over top of the goal. You know what? That's not a bad idea when you have a 6'7" goaltender that you might be able to bank it in off the back of his head since he's so far over the crossbar.
I wonder if John Tortorella likes that. He's not a big fan.
No.
I'll be honest, I'm a huge John Tortorella fan.
Yep. All right. Anybody that's ever had to get a quote is probably right there with you.
I don't think I would have liked playing for him.
No.
But I love him. I love him from up here.
Yep. Brought to center by Tippett. And look out. That's gone over the glass and into the walkway where the Leafs enter the ice.
Now, one of the things he did say earlier in the season, one of his players tried to Michigan. He said, look, I'm not a fan of it. I've never been a fan of it. I've said it before, but I'm losing the argument. I'm just going to shut up, and it's out of my control. But he stuck to his guns, and
now he's changed his thought process on diving, though.
Well, I don't think he's changed. I think he's came in, started a press conference saying, first of all, I tell my guys not to dive. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
He said, because we end up being shorthanded all night because the other team's diving. But again, that's honesty, right?
Yep. Brink gets it into the slot area, and it was knocked wide, and the Leafs on the near boards. Brought out by Matthews, but he overskated the puck. Now the Flyers, trying to keep it in, will send it into the empty corner in the near side. Knies taken to the boards, got it ahead. Marner couldn't get it out. Neither could Knies. Marner up against the boards with the Flyers. The puck comes free to the Leaf defense. They'll regroup it to the far side for Chris Tanev. Tanev getting it off to Oliver Ekman-Larsson as the Leafs are changing.
Boy, the Matthews line has really had trouble with any kind of offensive zone time.
Well, we've got Tavares with Nylander and Pacioretty out there now, and an icing call coming against Toronto. They'll bring it back into the Leaf zone. 16:06 to play third period. Game tied 2-2.
One place where the Leafs have dominated in this game is the face-off dot. 68% on the night, including John Tavares taking this. He's 1-8 of 10.
Draw to the right of Hildeby. And the Flyers being waved out. Or warned, I guess. And Tavares wins that draw cleanly. Tanev got it ahead for Pacioretty, but he couldn't get it into the zone with control. Flyers through neutral ice. In on the left wing is Brian Paling. He had it knocked off his stick. Leafs play it off the boards high to center ice. Nylander trying to get through the defense, but couldn't. It goes into the far corner. He chips it around back of the net for Tavares. Knocked away from him by the Flyers. Oh, and a hit there. Pacioretty can fly through. Nylander's alone. Oh, and it rolled off the toe of his stick. Back to the point, a shot. Knocked down in front. Goaltender Fedotov is on top of it, but what a hit by Pacioretty. And he's getting the business down there in front of the Flyer net. Oh, what a hit.
And we've both said the same thing. I mean, obviously we've watched him in the league a long time, but don't remember him being this physical. Remember the hands. Remember the reach.
But he has had some big-time hits this year, hasn't he?
Yeah. And it's on they've been on the right side of the line, right?
Yep.
For the most part. Been taking a lot of penalties.
But here was a chance for Willie Nylander, who was found himself all alone, and the puck rolled up on edge, and as he tried to scoop it to the net, it rolled away from him. And he never did get a shot on goal.
That's what we're thinking. You know, it's been a struggle for him, and you think, okay, I don't know if you thought that when you see him all alone on the goaltender, you're going, okay, this is it.
Yep.
This is how it
breaks.
It starts to switch the other way, but instead rolls off his stick, and you say, okay, it might take one that goes in off his skate that rights the ship for Willie Nylander.
Face-off to the left in the Flyers zone. Matthews raved out. Marner lost the face-off. Flyers launch it high into the center ice area, and Bobby Brink gets it into the Toronto zone. Riley reverses the puck, and his defense partner Oliver Ekman-Larsson gives it back to him at center. Shot in wide of the goal. It bounces into the far corner. Flyers there. Sandheim trying to get it out. Had it knocked off a stick. Flyers break it back through center with Ristolainen in with a shot. Taken into the glove by Hildeby. And covered for a face-off. And Dennis Hildeby, I think, has played very solid here tonight and looked very comfortable. And that was his...
first goal, you started to have a concern that, it was from the top of the right wing circle, beat him blocker side, and he's responded nicely.
Faced 25 shots.
I mean, in fairness, so is Fedotov. I mean, he gives up 2 in the first period and has shut the door since.
2-2 tie. Leafs win the face-off again and get it ahead for Robertson. A pass for Domi in on the left wing. Played it into the slot instead of shooting, and it was knocked away from its intended receiver as we get Domi and one of the Flyers shoving.
Leafs are getting a penalty here, I think, again. And is it Max Domi, I think, is going to take it.
Well, that'll be the third power play of the game for Philadelphia.
Not sure, did the elbow come up? Here's the call from referee.
Yep.
Yeah, this isn't even, and it was on Garnet Hathaway as well. So I don't know if that's any kind of retribution for the skirmish that he had that took Jake McCabe out of the game, but I mean, can't take this penalty at the other end of the rink in a tie game in the third period.
Pretty good elbow.
But you know what I mean?
You're right. Yep. Penalty kill brought to you by your Ontario Honda dealers. Get home ice advantage on every drive with the new Civic Hybrid, proudly made in Ontario. Available now at your Ontario Honda dealer. Draw to the right of Dennis Hildeby in the Leaf zone. 14:47 to go, third period. Game's deadlocked. Leafs break it out on the left wing with Benoit. trying to race down the left wing boards, running out of real estate, tried to make a drop pass to Marner, but it was well out of his reach. And now the puck back at center ice, and Marner has intercepted it, and he makes a move and gets his way through center. Another nice move to gain the zone. Marner in with a backhand try, and he flipped it between his legs. What a rush by Mitch Marner. The magician was working his wand there, and he gets a big round of applause. Okay, if he scores on that, Mr. Ralph, that's the goal of the year, isn't it?
And you and I both would have to do the mic drop and go home.
Yes, indeed. I've seen it all. I don't need to see any more. But it's got this crowd revved up. Minute to go in the power play. Forster in with a shot that goes wide of the Leaf goal. Down the boards is Bobby Brink trying to play it into the corner. Myers got it along, but it is Ristolainen keeping it in for Philadelphia. Onto the right wing side for Brink. Brink knocked down on the play. Could have been a penalty there. Pass into the slot. Oh, and Myers blocks a shot that was definitely going to go in the net. Another shot whistles high over top of the Leaf goal. Myers after it in the far corner, can't get to it. Flyers continue into the corner. Play it back on the far side for Ristolainen. Wrist shot coming. Blocker save made by Hildeby. Leafs are going to get it out and down the ice. 15 seconds left in the penalty. If things even up, the Leafs should get 2 power plays in the final 12 minutes. Down into the corner for Sandheim. Centering pass. Doesn't get a shot developed. Penalty is over. Played to the far side, and a shot now develops and sent high and wide of the Leaf goal. Puck in the near corner. Jammed at there by Morgan Riley. They can't get it freed up initially. Swatted at by Marner, but not cleared. Another shot deflects wide of the Leaf goal. Down into the corner and back of the net, and now here is Matthews starting out with it with Riley, getting it ahead for Domi. Domi makes a move to gain the zone. Flipped it in. He could have gone down there easily and taken a tripping call, couldn't he? Played back to the point, but the Leafs are changing the defense, and it comes to center ice. Speaking of diving,
yes,
just saying. Ristolainen sends an alley-oop pass in for Konechny. Travis Konechny getting it back to the point. A shot steered wide and up into the screen by the stick of Dennis Hildeby to stop play. Leafs 2 and the Flyers 2. 11:49 to go in the third. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
It's soccer's most thrilling league.
Only the Premier League can make you feel like this.
And now every match is on the SiriusXM app.
Can you believe it?
From the title race.
This is remarkable. Keeps this title charge on track, surely.
To the relegation fight.
The impossible may still be possible.
Hear every English Premier League match on the
Hey you. Yeah, you. Thank you for hanging out with us now that we finally have your attention, the Leafs and the Flyers. Please hit that subscribe button down below and turn on the bell if you haven't already. I know that a lot of you have already, and I thank you. And it is because of you that we have this amazing community to watch sports, listen to sports, hang out together, enjoy ourselves, keeping it classy, having a good time. It's what it's all about. And oh yeah, making a difference with SickKids Hospital in Toronto. Go Leafs, go! Thank you for hitting that subscribe button and becoming an insider. Now let's go, buds. Let's get it done tonight. Let's keep this hot streak rolling.
Side magic from Mo Salah.
Now with more matches featuring soccer's most iconic clubs as they battle it out for European supremacy.
What a start for Inter! Haaland scored the hat-trick!
From the league phase to the final, the Champions League is on SiriusXM FC 157 and the all-new SiriusXM app.
Join me, Gort Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
Radio Network.
Leafs 2 and the Flyers 2. Third period, 11:49 to play. Face off down to our right in the Leaf zone. Tavares will take the face-off. The Leafs are really dominating this area, and Tavares has won this one. But the puck comes out at center. Nylander got it in over the line, but couldn't get it in deep. Now he works to the line and in. Plays deep into the corner. Tavares trying to chase it down, but Ryan Poehling got it out at center ice. Left wing side, Pacioretty unable to get into the zone cleanly. Flyers Ristolainen waiting patiently for players to swing. Gives it off to Zamula. Zamula backpedals into his own zone. And the defenseman now sends it out at center and into the Leaf end, and Riley will come away with it for Toronto. To Ekman-Larsson. Banked ahead. Nylander had a man step in front of him to pick off a pass. And it is York with it now, sending it down into the Toronto zone. Riley going back after it. Taken to the boards there and wedged up against the wall. Knies battles his man. The puck comes free. Flyers with it. Trying to work in. That's brought in. It's a delayed offside, and it's going to go all the way back into the Flyer zone.
The Flyer forward is pointing to the referee saying, wait a minute, fix that for me. That was Noah Cates. Right after he touched the puck, pointed to the referee, who obviously didn't make the call. It was made by the linesman. By the way, the Leafs.
Hey,
now,
maybe it's working.
Yeah, now they've got all of them.
They're going to face it off outside the Toronto blue line.
Now this is John Tortorella, even though it looks like it kind of benefits the Flyers. Looks like he's rather upset with the call. Well, I guess maybe the fact that there was a whistle and Philadelphia had possession, it benefits the Leafs, right?
Draw one by Toronto again. A flip pass broken up. Myers couldn't get it farther up. Now Riley sending it around on the boards for Matthews. Matthews tipped the puck but didn't get it ahead. Now he does. And there's Marner breaking in on the left wing. Marner goes to the middle of the net. And he shot it just wide on the near side. Another great move by Mitch Marner. Back to the point. He plays it to Myers. Long shot wristed wide of the net. Flyers play it along the boards and out into neutral ice. Morgan Riley back. Starting back at center. On the wing for Marner. Got across the line. Pulls. Now tries to send it to the front of the net, but it ramps up off a stick. And it's gone up into the screen and out of play as we step aside in a 2-2 tie. Half the third period is in the books. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Bet365. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connectsontario.ca.
The Subaru winter has arrived. The crisp air and negative temperatures mean one thing: camping. Emerge from your icy tent and bask in 4 to 6 hours of sunlight. Enjoy the unmistakable smell of campfire through the glacial wind pummeling your face. Relax by the water, taking in the soothing sounds of thick ice cracking and popping. Get out there in winter like it's summer with standard symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and advanced safety systems. Visit your local Subaru dealer today.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need when you need it 24/7, 365 every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
Holy mackerel, what a move!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
9:58 to play third period. Game tied 2-2, and the Leafs are in another tight, low-scoring hockey game, which has been their DNA for most of the season.
Yeah, don't get blown out. Don't blow anybody out.
Draw scrummed, but controlled by the Flyers back of the goal. Sandheim gets it to the line, but not out. Back into the corner. Nylander chases, but can't come up with it. Then lost an edge and went nose first into the corner boards. Flyers will shoot it back into the Leaf end. chipped out at center. Willie's kind of hovering around out there in the neutral zone, hoping for something to develop. And now Domi carries it over the line, but he couldn't get around the last defenseman. Nylander keeps it in for him, though. Into the corner. Max trying to come out, and an errant pass looking for I don't know who in front of the net. There was no one there but a Flyer, and it was easily intercepted. Now Oliver Ekman-Larsson will just flip into the Flyer zone and peel to the bench. Changes coming here for both teams. Benoit unable to find a leap for his pass. Puck back in the Toronto zone. Knies for Matthews. Matthews to an open wing. Tanev won't get there in time. Flyers chip it in deep into the Leaf zone. Benoit against the boards. The Leaf defense corps has been mix and match since Jake McCabe left in the first period. And they've done a pretty decent job.
Especially back-to-back nights, right?
Yep. Matthews doesn't get the puck out. Flyers a turnover, but no shot as it went off a stick and went harmlessly wide. Now out comes Austin Matthews. The captain sends it deep into Flyer territory. Dewar down the boards, couldn't come out with it. And Owen Tippett brings it back the other way. But there's Myers to take him down with a good hit. Long lead pass for Connor Dewar. In across the line. Dewar with a little room. Dewar with a shot that deflects off a leg. And the Flyers, rather, get it out at center. Almost had the Bruins playing again. Did you hear that? Played back down into Philadelphia territory. Along the boards, Lorenz. Barging in there was Ruotsalainen. He loses it. Lorenz playing it back to the net. Connor Dewar to the near corner. Puts the brakes on. Trying to find a man. Ran into the official. Has it tied up on the inboards behind the Flyer goal. Camp hoping for a loose puck, and now it is Lorenz. Back to the point. Riley goes D to D, but Ekman-Larsson couldn't send it towards the net. It's back of the goal again. The scrum continues. Riley in deep, trying to get it back to the point. Does. Pacioretty filling in for him. Clears it right back in again. Leafs with some good pressure, but it didn't develop into a scoring chance.
No, the shots are 4-2 Philadelphia here in the third period.
Played back into the Toronto zone, and Hildeby had to quickly play it away, and Pacioretty gets it out for him. Flyers stretch things out. Play to the Leaf blue line. Turnover there. Benoit for the Leafs. Up ahead for Willie. Nylander circled. Backhands in for Pacioretty. Pacioretty down into the corner. Drysdale played it into the far corner for the Flyers, and Nylander got in there to disrupt that, but the puck is sent to center ice. Crowd getting into it again. 6.5 minutes to go. Tied at 2s. Robertson wheeling through center, but the puck didn't come to him. Now it is fired in by Benoit. Trapped back of the net by the Flyer goalkeeper, and out comes Drysdale with a pass that knocks the stick out of Bobby McMahon's hands. Pass ahead for Domi. Domi sends it off the boards to center. Doesn't get it into the Flyer end. The Leafs will regroup back in their own zone.
Philadelphia has done a really good job of keeping the Leafs to the outside. Leafs only had 7 shots in the last more than a period and a half.
Flyers get it out off the stick of Tippett into the Leaf zone. Myers in there, and Tippett pays the price as it goes back to the net. Paling gets it back to the point. D to Ruotsalainen, and the shot was blocked by Myers. Played off the glass. It's gone up into the screen, and there'll be a face-off with 5:37 left in the third period. Deep in Toronto territory when we return. The Leafs 2 and the Flyers 2. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Transform your environment and melt into music channels curated to calm. Fade into the lo-fi haze of chill hop. Relax with soothing new age sounds inside Spa. Or lose yourself in the electronic ambiance of Tranquil. Explore these channels and more across Sirius XM and in the Sirius XM app. Just search Relax.
24/7 Hockey Talk.
To understand that you are allowed to legally still check the head, not just the head. The head by itself is a penalty. If you wanted to change it, that would be like in the IIHF. That's probably a penalty at the Olympics. That's probably at the World Juniors. That guy's gone and suspended. I ask you, do you want that?
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. Hockey 24/7 on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio.
The only two players in the history of the National Hockey League to have 600 goals, 1,600 points, 3 Stanley Cups, and 2 Conn Smythes. Wayne and Sid. Just like it absolutely blows your mind how good Sidney Crosby is and how much we take him for granted.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
The Leafs Radio Network.
5 minutes and 37 seconds to go in the third. Game tied 2-2. Face off to our right in the Toronto zone. Matthews scrums the draw. Flyers come away with it. One of the few face-offs they've lost. And as they jam it to the side of the net, the Hildebeest gets the glove down on it. The CCM stick making sure it didn't get by him. Face-off in the Toronto zone.
I think Chris Tanev ended up with the puck on his stick at the top of the crease, facing his goaltender. Yeah. And he was trying to shovel it. That's hard to do with that big mass heading to the net, to now trying to shovel it out of harm's way. Unfortunately, it bounced into Hildeby.
Flyers win this face-off. Punched around the boards by Sandheim. Marner got there first. Gets it returned from Tanev. A pass, though, was intercepted by the Flyers, but then in turn given away. And it's Benoit getting it in over the line for Matthews. Played into the far corner. Marner trying to get there, and it's stolen back by Knies. Knies trying to come out in front of the goal. He got it into the slot area and in and around the goal crease, but couldn't deliver a shot. And icing waved off as it's down in the Toronto end.
And he backs out from below the goal line. Not quite the spinorama we saw last night to produce the goal.
Nylander bringing it through center, had to go off a Flyer player, and then he almost stole it in the high slot area, but the Flyers get it out. Leafs bring it right back in. Pacioretty down into the corner. One hands it along the boards now for Nylander. Tavares in, knocks his man down. Tavares comes away with the puck back to the point. Riley, D to D, shot coming and swallowed up by Fedotov, who hasn't had a lot to do in this third period.
That's 4 shots now.
I'm really glad you got the math right there, because I was going to have to kind of just take a real good look at it.
You know what I got to do, though?
Not good at the Gazintas.
No, that was just part of what I did.
Oh.
The other part is, Armin, could you check that, please?
And you know what the Gazintas are. 2 Gazinta 4 twice. You know, the Gazinta.
Yeah.
Sure. Played high by the Flyers into neutral ice, and the Leafs will go back into their own zone. 4:13 to play. When's the last overtime game we've had? Shot in then by Ekman-Larsson. Down the boards and into the corner it goes. Flyers are able to poke it free and get it ahead. Played by Hathaway in over the line, but it's gone astray. And now chipped along the boards by the Leafs, but not controlled. Played to an empty corner, and Ekman-Larsson after it jams his man in there, but Hathaway gets it back to the point. Sandheim down the left wing boards, working around back of the Toronto goal. Fed it off on the near side. Sandheim trying to get it back again. Played it to the side of the goal, and Hildeby with the quick hands there, found that puck in the blue paint and made sure he got a glove on it to stop play.
All right, last overtime game, December 10th in New Jersey. Anthony.
You just have all of this at your fingertips.
I just remembered it.
Yeah, you got
Anthony Stolarz.
Tremendous memory.
Oh, here it is.
Oh, there it is.
That was Anthony Stolarz. Stole that one, and the Leafs had the shorthand to goal late, and then Austin Matthews with the overtime winner.
We've not had a shootout this year, have we?
Well, we haven't had one since last April against Carolina. We have not had an overtime game at home this year.
Just have a marvelous amount of important information.
The games aren't long enough for me to give everything.
Loose puck in the slot. Gildaby had to go post to post, though. And he takes that on the chest as the Leafs are guilty of giving the puck away. And Sealer got an opportunity off the left wing.
The overtime games this year, the Leafs lost in Boston. You remember Austin Matthews tied it right. They lost in overtime there. Lost in Minnesota. Won in Washington on John Tavares' overtime. Well, that's when they came back from a 3-1 deficit against the Capitals. And then most recently was the early December game against New Jersey.
Draw to the right of Gildaby. Scrum, but the Leafs control the face-off. Bobby McMahon playing it off the boards and racing on the left wing. Kicks it into the corner. Couldn't get it in front of the net where Max Domi was awaiting as it went off his stick and went behind the goal. Now Domi in on the left wing. Had it knocked off his stick as it goes into the corner. Played around back of the net. Robertson in there with McMahon. McMahon unable to get it back to the blue line. Flyers are able to bring it out at center and they're going to send it down into the Leaf end. Morgan Riley chipping it along for Robertson. Played back now for Ekman-Larsson. Up ahead looking for McMahon. That went astray. And it goes down into Flyer territory with 2:37 to play. Leafs 2, Flyers 2. Sandheim gets in over the line. Hit by Benoit was just missed, and the Flyers then can't keep the puck in as it's gone back down into their zone. Sandheim send it back into the corner. Chipped ahead at center. Off a stick controlled by Benoit. Tried to get it in over the line for Knies. That didn't work. Flyers bring it right back. Mitch Marner, who had his 5th career 5-point night the other night. Only Daryl Sittler's had more, 7. Marner sending it around the boards to the near side. Knies bodies his man, but Konechny gets it out, and the Flyers are going to launch it deep into the Toronto end. Woo, collision there as Ekman-Larsson ended up on top of the Flyer player. Leafs get it to center with Morgan Riley shooting it in, and the Leafs are changing. Puck is around back of the Flyer goal. 1.5 minutes to go in the third. Batted down into the Toronto end. Played around the boards by Tanev. On to Nylander. Back to the defense. Tanev gets it ahead. Left wing side for Nylander. Willie driving in over the line. Pulls up. Looks to make a pass. Double teamed along the boards. Lost the puck, but Pacioretty was able to skim it around the boards. The Leafs keep it in. Now Tavares, top of the circle, doesn't shoot it. On to Benoit shooting into the glove of Fedotov. And he will hold with a minute left in regulation time.
The Philadelphia Flyers, this ends a lengthy road trip. 6-game road trip. They're 2-3 on the 5 games. They went out west. The 2 wins they had were 3-1 in Anaheim, and they shut out the San Jose Sharks 4-0. It's kind of strange to go out west and then play an Eastern team on the way back, right?
Yep.
A lot of times you'll get St. Louis.
Leafs win the draw. Ekman-Larsson banks it around back of the net for Marner. Less than a minute to go. Marner to the point for Riley to Ekman-Larsson. Ekman-Larsson with a pass in front that hit a skate. Flyers have sent it down the ice, but it's not going to have enough to go for icing. Riley goes back with 40 seconds left in regulation time. Up ahead for Matthews. Now to Knies. Tried to slide it back in for the centerman. Didn't work. Now Matthews does get it in the corner. Swept it in front of the net for Knies, and he couldn't get his stick on it. Matthews knocks it down. Puck back to the blue line, but it gets past Morgan Riley back into the Toronto zone. 17 seconds left. Riley starts back up ice. To the red line. Shoots it in over top of the goal. 6 seconds left. Played along the boards. Tippett will get it under control. And we are going to overtime.
And for the first time in 24 home games, the Leafs will go to extra time. And I don't know if that is a Leaf record, Armin. Armin comes up with a lot. He'll look for it, too.
Yeah, I know. As he should, because he's been doing very little of anything else. We'll step aside and back for overtime. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Ah, at last, the Subaru winter is here. It's the perfect weather for the beach. Feel the sun's rays on the small amount of skin peeking out of your ski mask. Put on your beach puffer and hear the sound of the waves crashing over the chatter of your teeth. Get out there in winter like it's summer with standard symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and advanced safety systems. Visit your local Subaru dealer today.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need when you need it 24/7, 365 every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey. You know that's game on. On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
We are heading to overtime for the first time this season at Scotiabank Arena. The Leafs will defend the goal to our left as they switch ends, and that's where Dennis Hildeby has entrenched himself. Ivan Fedotov down to the right.
Last overtime game for the Flyers came at home December 21st against Columbus. That was a 5-4 win. But, yeah, they played in a few more than the Leafs have at this point. They've lost 4 games that have gone to extra time.
Forster and Laughton for Philadelphia. Knies and Oliver Ekman-Larsson for Toronto. And Marner, Matthews, Riley start the overtime. And the draw kicked free. Matthews can't come up with it. Flyers go back into their own zone. Travis Sandheim is stationed back of the Flyer goal. Moving right to left into your radio dial. He brings it out with a pass in on the right side. Flyers get in over the line, dropping it back. Almost stolen by Marner. And now he'll get it back to Morgan Riley, who feeds it ahead for Matthews. He gains the zone. Matthews into the high slot. Marner trailing. Matthews walks the line again with it. Still with it. Works to the near side. Doesn't shoot it. Plays it back to the point to Morgan Riley, or to Marner. Marner to Morgan Riley. Riley's going to take it back to center ice and get a change started as Matthews to the bench. Marner in on the right side for Willie. Nylander double teamed over there, loses the puck. And the Flyers now have possession and they'll get a change started. Knies mirroring the Flyer forward, and now a pass ahead at center. Brought on by Philadelphia, and on the right side, and a blocking arm save made by Hildeby. Puck through now to Knies. Can't make a play as he tried to send it through the legs of one of the Flyer defenders. Here's Konechny going to the net, and the pass in front of the goal. Tippett couldn't finish for him. Tippett coming in front, knocked back to the point, shot blockered away. Racing after it, Knies, but he won't be able to skate it out. Trying to get free. Has the puck now and sending it back into his own zone. Leafs will change. Long lead pass. Tavares in over the line with Domi. Backhand shot. Stopped by the blocker of Fedotov. Domi on the right point. Now going to bring it out into neutral ice. Max works to the left wing side and in. Still with it. Close play on an offside. The pass went into Tavares. Couldn't get a shot. Tavares works down the right wing boards. Works in front of the goal. Swept it towards the net and it went wide. Domi after a loose puck. Cleared ahead. One man back, but it's Riley. One-on-one here with the Flyer in over the line with a backhand try. Stopped on the short side. Mitchkov let it go. Leafs get it ahead to Matthews. Matthews along with Riley. Riley closes. Score! Holy mackerel! Their defense is scoring a lot.
The Leafs are able to keep it alive in the corner to the left of Hildeby. Matthews coming onto the ice. It's fired all the way up to the Leaf blue line. Right in front of their bench. Matthews has it. Morgan Riley reads the play and races down towards the front of the net. And the 2-on-1 with Sanheim back ends up onto the stick of Morgan Riley. And where the Leafs had gone from November 30th until last night between goals by a defenseman, they've now got 3 goals in their last 2 games from the blue line, and another source of offense helps the Leafs win back-to-back games on home ice.
3 stars brought to you by your Ontario Honda dealers. Get home ice advantage on every drive with the new Civic Hybrid, proudly made in Ontario. Available now at your Ontario Honda dealer.
Well, 3rd star, I'm going to go goaltender for the Philadelphia Flyers that I thought Ivan Fedorov played well. Both goaltenders were good. He gives up 2 in the first period, settled down. The Leafs didn't have a lot on him the rest of the way, but I thought he was solid enough to get a pretty important point for the Philadelphia Flyers. Having said that, 2nd star, I think we'll go with Dennis Hildeby, who picks up his 3rd win. And I thought it was his best start since his first start, which was in New Jersey, the 2nd game of the regular season. Made some huge stops to give the Leafs a chance to get in the 3rd period, especially on the penalty kill. He came up large, and you know what? Let's go Morgan Riley, star number 1. I mean, I thought it was a pretty hard-fought game between both teams. There wasn't a lot of ice out there. There were a lot of battles, but we'll give credit to the blue line. Morgan Riley ends it. Not sure how many he's got power play goals in his career. I know that's not his first.
Overtime goals.
Yeah, overtime goals.
Yeah.
Oh, what did I say? Power play? Yeah. So we'll go Morgan Riley, number 1. So Fedotov, Hildeby, and Morgan Riley, the 3 stars.
5th of the year for Riley at .225 ends the game, and the Leafs win it by a score of 3-2. These 2 teams will have a rematch in Philadelphia on Tuesday night, 7 o'clock start. We hope that you will join us then. We'll step aside. Eilish Forfire and Justin Cuthbert coming your way as the Leafs win it in overtime, 3-2. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
You've been listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network. There's a Molson with your name on it.
This week on Let's Go with Bill Belichick, Max Crosby, Peter King, and me, Jim Gray. Los Angeles Chargers coach Jim Harbaugh. Now you're back with an opportunity here in the playoffs. It happened pretty quick.
It feels good, really good. That's how it's felt.
There it is. How we doing, Leafs fans? What a win. Overtime, Morgan Riley. Beautiful little snapshot. Gotta love it. Leafs get the win. That's 3 in a row. 2 in a row over the Islanders, now over the Flyers, and we get to do it again in Philly in just a couple of days. Hi. Thank you all for hanging out with us tonight. I will let the post-game run, as always, throughout the end of the Leafs talk and post-game. Look at that. Nova in the chat. Nova, I love it. Thank you for hanging out with us, Nova. Rebuke 2K. You know, that was awesome. Thank you for hanging out with us, Rebuke 2K. Keeping it classy. Doing trash talk the way it's supposed to be done. That's what I loved the most about tonight. I was just in the chat chilling, and it was beautiful to see. Thank you, Flyers fans, for being here and cheering on your team and keeping it classy. And the same with the Leafs fans, but you know, I never have to remind you guys. There you go. There's David Uploads. Love it. Bills fan coming back. Thank you, David. That is huge, man. That is absolutely huge. Tough game for the Bills today, but you know what? It's all good. The game meant nothing. So we get ready for the playoffs. There you go. Rick Smith in the chat. What's up, Rick? Burble Bunky. Show the Leaf stats. That's a great idea. And I will find a way to redo that stuff to get the Leaf stuff up, but it changes with the home and away, so I got to switch up that stuff and figure it all out. But I appreciate the suggestion. There you go, Alexander and David Skull. Thanks for hanging out with us. Appreciate you always lighting up the chat with those awesome emojis. There's Guy. Love it, Guy. Thanks for hanging out with us, man. Really appreciate it. Mark Duffney. What's up, Mark Duffney? Thank you for hanging out with us, sir, and being an insider. We're going to have a lot of fun over these next few weeks. Lots of football. And I'll let the Joe Bowen football frenzy read go there in a little bit, probably at the end of postgame. But thank you to Joe Bowen for helping me with that read and getting it done so that we can raise money for SickKids Hospital through the football frenzy. We're already at, I think, $188 in donations so far. Absolutely insane just from the first weekend. We still have so much football to go. It's going to be so much fun. Mad Max, love it, man. Thank you, Mad Max, for hanging out with us. There you go, Richard. Buffalo Bills fanatic. Love it. Love it. There's Carmen. Thanks, TSI Mike and Allison and mods. Yes, thank you to the mods. And they're coming back to post game. We'll see you guys back in the chat. Have a great night, everybody. Cheers.
And Morgan Riley wins the game.
Welcome into Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, the fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Leafs with an overtime 3-2 victory over the Philadelphia Flyers thanks to Morgan Riley. It was time to get the monkey off the back. The defense are red hot.
Yeah, Matthew Knies only outscored the blue line by one goal this weekend. 4 for Knies, 3 for the blue line. It's been a long time coming for the blue line. Some quality positive regression. You love to see it if you're a fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs. But most importantly, 4 points in the bank this weekend. Picked up 3 on the Boston Bruins after beating them and seeing them lose in overtime tonight. So with the exception of the Jake McCabe injury, I'm sure we'll get an update sooner than later. A pretty good weekend for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yes, great to have a back-to-back win on home ice, too. They've been really great at home. Let's take a look at the NHL scoreboard presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. At Bet365, must be 18 plus, Ontario only. Play responsibly. Visit connexontario.ca.
I don't have the junior score, so get that teed up after we go through the scoreboard tonight. Earlier today, the Rangers beat the Blackhawks 6-2. Islanders got a 5-4 victory in overtime over the aforementioned Bruins. Hurricanes 4-3 in overtime over the Pittsburgh Penguins. And end of 2 after 40 minutes. The Ducks have a 2-1 lead over the Tampa Bay Lightning.
It is 3-3 halfway through the third period for the gold medal between USA and Finland. USA was down 3-1. They tied it up going into third, and looks like it might be an overtime situation there too.
Maybe.
All right, our next Molson Leafs hockey broadcast here on Sportsnet 590 Fan is Thursday night versus the Carolina Hurricanes. Feels like we haven't played them in a long time, so that should be a blast. We will see you then. We're on the air at 7 o'clock for the pregame show. So we'll send it over to Leafs Talk with JD Bunkus and Sam McKee next. Thanks for listening to Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Nightly. Yeah. We just mentioned that he's been getting buried in the DMs with every single person that follows the show that doesn't feel like we do enough service about giving the guy just grief after grief. But yeah, it was nice to see him get one tonight. And I thought, again, by the reaction, you could tell it meant a lot to him.
Yeah, break up the Leafs decor here now. All of a sudden, all they do is score. 3 goals in the last 2 games after going a full month. Like Oliver Ekman-Larsson poking one home tonight. Morgan Riley gets on his horse, shows off his beautiful skating ability to go from zone to zone. Good pass by Matthews, puts it on his stick, and he fires it past, Fedotov or whatever the goalie's name is there.
Couldn't tell you.
Most classic Flyers goalie. Like just a guy I've never heard of. It's just, maybe this isn't the spot to do this take now, but I was thinking about this a bit during the game. They're like, with goalies, they're the Browns QBs. Like they've had like that stat of, 40 QBs since 1999. That's the Flyers.
I think any Browns fan watching that, though, you do that take is like, dude, shut up. That's like nothing is like our thing.
Well, they've had good team. They went to the finals with Michael Leighton.
Yeah.
Like Brian Boucher got to the playoffs and Michael Leighton. Like they've had the weirdest goalie situation my entire life. And again, it is.
Like Czechmanic was the guy.
Yeah. Ash.
And then
Ash. Robert Ash was hot in the street. They gave all that money to Brizgalov because they were like, we have to have somebody. They let Bobrovsky go for no reason. Like they've had a goalie stuff. Anyways, they don't need to do too much Flyers talk here, but it's a cursed position for them. It's like that's the guy you're going to against the Leafs. Like holy crap. Anyways, nice goal by Riley, and for a guy that is the number 1 whipping boy in the city in terms of Leaf players right now. There's no one that takes it worse than he does. nice for him to see one hit the back of the net in overtime. Big moment. And the Leafs get 4 points in the back-to-back on the weekend with their third stringer in net on the second half. Good win tonight.
I'm not going to belabor this point, but I wrote down the Leafs I liked tonight and the Leafs I didn't, just like a little. And 44 was not in the Leafs I liked. So the goal was especially important because I don't think he played very well.
No, I don't think he's playing very well any night.
Yeah.
It's not, I think we could come on here and lead with Morgan Rielly not great every night, but I don't think we need to do that on the night he scored the goal. It was a good goal.
I just thought it was just important context.
Yeah,
it was like,
for sure.
Hey,
good for him.
Great. You know what I did like, though? I liked a lot of the Leafs depth players tonight. It's probably not the way that you're going to show, but I'm going to throw Hill to be kind of just like in the mix on that because that's what he is. He's supposed to be the third string goaltender. Thought that he was solid. I really liked what the fourth line gave them yet again. It just, it once again feels like the Leafs have found a little bit of something where those guys are creating. Like they don't really give anything up and they're not banging home goals on the regular, but like that Oliver Ekman-Larsson poke, which you pointed out earlier, is like that's created by the fourth line. Yeah. Kind of just getting pucks to the net and then crashing. Like, look at them all just go there as hungry dogs.
It ain't pretty. It ain't pretty.
Not a hand amongst them, you know. Just
the puck split the 5 pieces by the time this line's done. But God, they work hard.
But don't you love it? Like they bring what you're expected from a fourth line, which is just energy. And that's what I feel when they're out there. And they were solid again tonight. They created a goal. That one ends up being the game tying goal, right? That's the second one that OEL pokes in. And then
that put them up 2-1. And then they tied it, right? I think that's how it went.
Cute one. 2 nights in a row where the Leafs score not just with defensemen, but with one-handed pokes.
Little pokes, I know.
Yeah, the poke boys. But I love that. That's like the cheeky pool shot.
Yeah, it is. So I like that fourth line too. Good mix in terms of, I think Lorentz is one of the cleanest, heaviest players in the league. Like has he's taken a minor yet? I don't think he's taken a penalty yet. And he throws, like there was I'm trying to think back, but there was a stretch throughout the season where he hadn't taken a penalty. You could check me in on that, but I don't remember him sitting in the box. Again tonight, he's just throwing the body around. He's responsible with his physical play. Dewar's a dog on a bone. You know, he plays like a guy that's, 5 inches taller than he actually is. And then Camp's Camp, where he's just a rangy, good defensive guy. When the puck's in the offensive zone, he seals it well. He's a good cycler of the puck. Obviously not, exactly Datsuk with the hands out there, any of these guys. But for a fourth line, it's pretty much as good as you can ask for. Like, they go out there, they're responsible. They play in the offensive zone. They're physical. They've been really, really good here. And yeah, that's a mix that you could picture in the first round of the playoffs being your fourth line. Like if the playoffs started today, totally comfortable with those 3 guys together as a fourth line. Really like what I've seen from them. So I'll agree and heap praise on them. Thought they were excellent tonight.
Yeah, listen, I think that when we talk about secondary scoring, you're not like you want your fourth line to chip in the odd goal, like the odd greasy goal in a postseason series, right? Of course, so over an entire series, you'd like, one, maybe 2, a couple that they find a way to get in. But I just love how responsible they feel out there too. Like it doesn't feel like they basically ever get hemmed in, and they are all fine skaters. And I think that you made a lot of good points. But the depth guy that I wanted to point out the most out of all of them, and we'll circle back to Hillaby for just like a second, but it was Simon Benoit. I thought tonight he was like arguably the Leafs' best player. Like in terms of wins over replacement of what he usually gives you any given night, right? He played awesome. They lose Jake McCabe. We'll get into that too.
Yeah.
But I just thought Benoit stepped up, dude. He was awesome on every penalty kill that they had. He was throwing the body around, but he was playing controlled. And you can tell too that he's just able to do what Craig Berube wants, which is, hey, lay the body, hit somebody, and then get the puck out. And that's all he did all night long. It was awesome. Great game for him.
I think Jake McCabe can blame his boy Benoit here for starting the B under the bonnet of Garnet Hathaway, because this is if you're watching on YouTube or Sportsnet Plus, it's a monster hit. Like he just hammered him, perfect timing, puck's right there, 2 physical bodies, he wins. Rides him into the boards. Like that's textbook stuff there. Knocks off his helmet. And like we're both Benoit guys. Like he had stretches throughout this year where he had to come out of the lineup, but I don't think he's immune to that. If it goes back down, then he can go out. Like I think he's a guy that can mix in and out. But I mean, over this last little bit, he's been really impressive. And clearly he's got some warts to his game. He's not the best with the puck. He does have a tendency to like push it up a little bit once in a while more than I would want him to. Like, he really has that feeling where he's like, I'm Guy Lafleur, his French brain's
Every once in a while, he goes for a skate.
He's like, I'm Guy Lafleur, baby. Yeah. Like, I'm Jean Beliveau. Here we go. I'm skating up the ice. His French roots come out. But he really is impressive as a depth defenseman. And I love the physicality from him. Mm-hmm. And, like, the Leafs D-court isn't really that physical in terms of like on a consistent basis, right? Like, there's guys that
Tanev doesn't hit.
Tanev literally has like 6 hits all year. Riley isn't a physical guy. McCabe, that we'll talk about here in a second, he'll throw like a monster hit. But I don't think like on a shift-to-shift basis, Benoit is by far the most physical defenseman, and that's a really important cog for the Leafs. Like, I'm trying to think, Myers doesn't really lay the body a ton.
I still think McCabe is their most physical guy, but Benoit's a close second.
Well, like, I think, I guess it's just you're probably right. I think it's close, but Benoit lays the body.
He never sees a body he doesn't want a piece of. Like,
but those two guys are really important for the physicality of the Leafs back end, and I guess that's maybe a good way to kind of transition into what happened with McCabe.
Well,
but like, Benoit has been impressive, and I'm happy to see him continue to play well here.
Yeah, all right. Let's go into McCabe. I want to circle back to Hildeby because I think it deserves more like than just me throwing him into the mix of the depth guys.
Yeah.
All right. So you and I were texting back and forth about this. Like, we both said the same joke, which is like, check the game notes for him in terms of trying to fight a guy who, is way out of his
By the way, check the game notes is potentially the greatest hockey story ever told. Like, I think that is one of the funniest hockey stories in hockey history. Like, it's on the Mount Rushmore. Check the game notes, pal, or whatever it is one of the best.
Pal, yeah, it's so good, especially since Alexander Dagg that throws him the game notes.
This is maybe one of the best examples of check the game notes. And listen, I hate Garnet Hathaway running your rookie goalie. He clearly runs him, but that's Garnet Hathaway. And this is scary. If you're watching on the stream here, it's a really scary scene to see your, second most important defenseman barely able to get up. Like, Morgan Riley comes over and kind of saves him from falling over here again. Like, it's not pretty, but it is what it is. Like, McCabe completely initiates this. I want him to step up there, but Kipper in the intermission coming off of this absolutely nailed it. You can't let him get up. You can't let one of the toughest guys get up and have the opportunity to drop his gloves with a much smaller guy that's not in his weight class, where he gets to beat the crap out of you. Like, you got to put your knee on him. You got to let the ref come in there, and you got to make anything. Get the knee on him. Like, just, you've seen it a million times. And that's
Turn it into wrestling. I texted you right away. I was like, this is a classic case where it's like, the one thing that guys should actually do when they take these boxing classes is not really learn how to chuck them. It's how to tie up.
Or to stay on your feet.
Well, that's just it. It's like, you can't let this guy get the knuckles loose. And this one's like, we don't often see this, right, in fights anymore, where a guy just gets cold cocked and he's basically like, got the visible concussion. But it's just, that's one of the tougher guys in the league. And that's one of your most valuable players chucking with them. And I just hate it. And like, I know
you rank outside of the core 4 guys as importance.
I actually would say that, like,
1 or 2. Like I said, goalies are a different conversation, but
goalies are different. If you're talking about skaters, like, man, there's 6 guys on the team that matter more than anybody else, and he's one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. So you hate seeing this, but like, I can't talk out of both sides of my mouth, because I've come on here on so many Leaf talks after so many games in the Keefe era where nothing happens there, where your goalie gets bowled over and no one says anything, no one looks at him, and he made a mistake by letting him get back up. But like, McCabe's an absolute warrior, and for him to even consider standing in there with Hathaway, I give him all the credit in the world. It's just an awful result for the Leafs.
It's unlucky too, right? Because I think the Conco happens.
Yeah, when he fell on him.
He hits his head on the ice. Yeah. But here's the thing. I'm with you, man. Like, I'm torn on it too, because I'm with you in terms of, you want to see grit, you want to see jam, you want to see teammates stick up for each other, blah, blah, blah. I don't think that Hathaway ran Hildeby. Like, Hildeby's way out of his crease.
He took the greasiest route possible.
Right, okay.
You're going to give Garnet Hathaway the benefit of the doubt? Like, he got hammered early in this game. He was looking to do that. Absolutely.
Listen, no question. Like, I'm not going to push back on it too much, because he is who he is. But I just thought that Hildeby's a huge goalie who's outside of his crease. And like, I don't know what Hathaway's really supposed to do on that play that you're really looking at him going like, oh, wow, that was so sportsmanlike of you. Like, that's just what his job is. He's an energy player driving the net and he barely contacts the goaltender. I just didn't think it was the world's worst play or one that was worth literally, getting cold cocked over. So,
wow. I mean, but I would have come on here 100 times out of 100 if McCabe skates away and been like, what are you doing? So I can't talk to both sides.
I'd rather have the guy who just came back from a head injury, not throwing knuckles with a guy who is.
Yeah, he shouldn't have let him. He shouldn't let him get up. He shouldn't let him get up, and that was a mistake. But like, he's got to engage him there. Things happen fast. He's a tough guy, and he beat him up.
Engaging was the first one. Then he shoots the second shot at him, and it's like, what do you think's going to happen now? And so, as much as I love McCabe's game, I love the fact that he sticks up for his teammates and he does that kind of stuff. It's like, I'm not even mad about it. I guess I'm just mad at the situation because he's so important. And it sucks even more knowing that this guy just took a puck to his head and missed a bunch of games because he obviously had a concussion. And so it's like, you've now got one of your most important 6 players who's got to be shelved and for the rest of the season now, you got to be thinking about this. Like, that's how these things work. It's, there's no pure science to it, but you get one, it's easier to get 2, it's easier to get 3, and it becomes scarier the more that they compound. So it sucks. Like, it's not good for the Leafs. It sucks for Jake McCabe. I love the edge that he plays with, but at some point, man, he's going to have to kind of realize that like he's one of the team's most important players and he can't be the one that's doing that stuff on the regular.
Yeah, totally agree. I mean, he's not a great fighter. He tried to fight.
No, did you see how short his arms looked in that fight?
And he tried to fight Braden Shen earlier in the year and got knocked on his ass too. Like, he doesn't, but he thinks he's tough. He's a warrior. He just doesn't consider. He just doesn't consider that he's not a tough guy.
That's what I mean. He's got to
consider it.
That's it. He is tough. He can lay a huge hit, but he's got alligator arms and scraps, and he gets buried every single time he tries to throw the knuckles with the top tier guys, and it can't be a part of his game moving forward. It can't. He's too important. Even if he's just in the box for 5 minutes, it's like you don't want him doing that.
Like, when they flash back and the gloves were off, I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, no. Like, I literally was like, oh, God, no. Like, I actually said those words alone on my couch. It's like, of all the guys in the league, like, that's Reeves' class. Like, that's, that's the top class.
Yeah.
And, like, I got so many, like, oh, you got to start Reeves now. It's like, listen, I'm as tough guy lover as much as anybody. Like, there's no, like, what, Reeves is going to jump off the bench and take the fight? Like, it happened fast. Like,
that was an in the moment play.
I know.
There's no difference there.
But I got so many messages about that.
Does have a fight this year?
No, 0. McCabe has 2 more fights than Reeves does
against 2 of the toughest guys in the league.
Shen, did you see that interview he did after the Winter Classic? Where he's literally like, I just wanted to fight so bad to win the Classic. Like, you are the man. You are a dying breed. Send him back to Hockey Canada to teach him how to play. Braden Shen. Legend.
Yeah, no, it's like the Sasky voice, the Sasky strong. I just love it. I absolutely love having those guys out there. Hildeby quickly. I just thought he was solid. He was good. The first goal he lets in, and you're just groaning, going like, "Oh boy, this is gonna be a long night."
Good shot, but need a save.
Yeah, sure. It's not great. Like,
he's an NHLer full speed coming down the wing, hits him low blocker. Like, one shot. Like 4 minutes in the game. Good game. Good save. NHL goal. You need a save.
Need that saved.
Yep, no question.
Need it again. Too far away from the net. Need that saved. Like, sorry, don't care that it's perfectly placed. You're 6 foot 1,000,
the tallest guy of all time.
I need you to be bigger there. But then the rest of the game, you settle in, and I actually thought that was a really good marker for him because it was just kind of one of those games where Philly wasn't overly threatening, but he was just solid, made saves when he needed to, never really looked rattled, which to me is important for a young goaltender after he lets in a bad one. It's like, forget it, move on, make the next ones. And he did for basically the rest of the night.
Impressed by his bounce back ability. Because you know how easily that could kind of break you. And you're a young goalie. And listen, he's in a competition here.
Yep.
They called up, he got starts this year, and they called up an older guy that's been pretty bad to try him ahead of you. So this is a competition, and Hildeby earned the next, whenever the next start is, backup start is, Hildeby earned it. He looked way better in this game than Matt Murray looked in either of his games that he got. There's absolutely no comparison. So Hildeby gets the next backup start, and I was really impressed by him bouncing back. So good on him.
Like, this is a small thing, but he was good enough tonight. Like, again, played really well. That if the Leafs are feeling like, oh boy, we're on the fence about starting Wool tonight, maybe he could use an extra day rest on a non-back-to-back.
Like this week when you have 3 games, right?
Yeah.
Like Thursday in Carolina, maybe you could try to get away with one.
That's what I'm saying, is like he was good enough for your team to win just about against anybody tonight. Like 2 goals from your 3rd string goaltender, maybe your 4th string goaltender, depending how you're looking at him. Yeah. That's brilliant stuff. Rapid fire time for me.
Is Willie rapid fire?
I think that's 7 games now without a goal.
Really? It's that many?
I think so.
I mean, it's not just the no goals.
-2, I'm pretty sure.
He's not -2 last night. -2 the night before.
He was -2 again tonight.
Like he's got to wake up here. He's got bad body language. He's not engaged at either end of the ice right now. He's like, they're on the first, I only got 1 power play tonight.
Yeah.
I think it was only 1 power play tonight. The puck, I think it was like 5 seconds into the first power play. They're starting to move the puck around. And like the first opportunity he gets, he hammers one off the glass. Like there's no setup. They don't have anything going. He's just pressing. And that line hasn't been great. That second line hasn't been great since like in the 2 games when Matthews came back. He's the straw that stirs the drink on that line. Like Pacioretty and Tavares, they're good veteran guys who are great in the offensive zone and like can cycle it and do all that stuff. But he's the puck carrier for that line. He's the dynamic guy in that line. He's what needs to make it go. And he's just been no good for a little bit here. Like he's been
the second goal against is like,
he's just seal the boards, get the puck out, man. Like that's just
not even just that. It's like after he turns it over, like where's the effort to go get it back?
There's no urgency at all.
A light little stick play. It's like, dude, have a little ownership where you made the mistake. What are you doing there? Like your feet stop moving and you just stick out the stick and it's like, it's in the back of your net. Yeah. So Morgan Rielly, unfortunate there because he also loses his man, loses sight of the puck. He's just kind of like all turned around, but
the whole thing starts because your winger can't steal the boards and everybody's scrambling because the puck's in a spot it's not supposed to be.
For sure.
And then Rielly loses his man and it ends up in the back of the net. So listen, Willie will be good. He'll come back around here, but like he's making top dollar. You're allowed to point out when he's been no good, and it's been
100%. And he's been
a while here.
He's been one of the leading goal scorers in the NHL. Yep. I think that this is always going to be a part of the experience where it's he's going to have his lulls as a player. I don't think that anybody's like panicking about him whatsoever. Like that's not the point of what this is. Like actually, I shouldn't even said it because it's like so obvious that it's not. But like he's been bad lately.
Yeah,
like 7 games without a goal for William Nylander is a long stretch.
Yep. Yeah, when you're making over $11 million, you can't really go 7 or 8 games without scoring a goal. They kind of need them from you.
Not just that, dude. It's like this is why when it is like when you see Nylander outside of Marner and Matthews when it comes to the Leafs quarter century team.
Yeah,
it's like I'm sure there are some young fans that are like Nylander should be ahead of Marner. It's like no, he shouldn't because the baseline for those 2 players is so astronomically different. Like, that's what it is. It's just,
the bad nights for Marner, like there's just no comparison to the bad nights for Willie.
Unless it's against Montreal and he's just so choking that he's
it's against the playoffs. It's in the playoffs. I mean, there's lots of bad ones for everyone in those games.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. We're talking regular season.
Yeah, watching him almost cry in the penalty box.
Well, buddy. Listen, but like everyone's like, but Willie's so great though. Yeah, he's Clark Gillies. Like he's Clark Gillies in the playoffs. He's unbelievable. Like they win,
for sure.
They win 3 games every year here, guys. Like,
unfortunately, though, I just think that this is like at this point of his career, the baseline stuff is never going to change. You're just going to have to deal with some of these nights where it's like he's not there. Back to back against the Philadelphia Flyers.
That's good night. That's the night.
He's either scoring right away and he's going to be engaged trying to chase points, or he's just turning the puck over, putting the stick out and hoping and praying that his goalie makes a save. And in that case, he didn't. Rapid fire thing for me is just Pacioretty with the body, man. Like
oh my God.
He got smoked twice and then he gave one once in this game. And I love it, but it did have a moment tonight where I thought about his age and was like, God, he's going to be in the ice bath tonight. Like that hurts.
So that's a penalty, first of all, if we're doing ref talk here. Like that's a pick play that leads directly to a goal. And you're like, it was incidental contact.
I thought that's what it was.
Trips are in an incidental contact. And so are high sticks. Those are incidental. And, you don't mean to hit high stick somebody or trip somebody, but like a massive pick that leads to a goal early in the game. But anyways, Pacioretty's hammering guys, and he has 5 of the 10 biggest Leafs hits this year. He just
for sure.
It's once
McCabe,
a week.
It's like between him and McCabe, all the biggest, and then Benoit. It's like those 3 guys. There's nobody else that even has them. And then
it's
if
once a week, man. Like, and this is such a great that. I mean, I've been watching hockey so long. That spot on the ice is such a classic spot for a guy to get hammered, where he's trying to turn the puck off the boards, and he just catches him perfectly, shoulder to shoulder. And this is one where there just needs to be zero repercussions. Like he had the puck in his stick. It's in the offensive zone, separates the man from the puck. Nobody's hurt. Like, I get jumping in, but that's not a repercussion hit to me.
I agree, but the way it's happening, the way it looks for a second, and Buddy gets up right away. Yeah. But it does look like he goes a little high, and the way he flies, like you could just see his teammates stick him for it's not like it turned into a fight. No. What I would say is I'd like to see how many of Pacioretty's biggest hits he ends up on the ice after.
All of them? The Jack Hughes one, he was lying on the ice too.
He's always throwing it with literally everything he's got and ends up on his ass, 9 times out of 10 with his hits. I loved his response here. It was very veteran, just kind of smiling, like, okay.
But he's like, I'm an old guy. You think I'm fighting you? I just hammered you. Like, give me a break. I'm too old for this.
I liked it. You and I are big Pacioretty guys. Yeah. I can't believe it. It's like the list of former division rival players that I hated.
Don't bring up Spezza because it's gone.
I'm just saying. Okay. Well, you did.
I thought you were going to bring it up. I was going to get the Men in Black stick for you, buddy.
Nah, I was gonna name old Turtleneck when he came to
the league. Blue traded a 2nd round pick for Placanus. Oh my god! Whoopsies.
He was a 2nd. I thought it was a 3rd.
No, it was a 2nd.
Well, Montreal doesn't do it if it's not just like a beat down into a trade. They were like a 2nd. Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, you're not. Yes, of
done
course.
Deal. I think that's it for me.
Last thing, like Scott Laughton a lot. I think that's a guy that would look really good in blue and white. Local guy, good depth guy, got a bit of an offensive upside pop for me tonight. Good skater, can shoot it. Bit of a nasty face to him, It looks like he's just. I like Scott Laughton, and that's a guy to me. I think he's a free agent after this year. I think he's a pending UFA, or maybe he has 1 more year left. Keith Jones came on Real Kipper and Born, I don't know how long ago, and they asked him about the deadline. He's like, no, we're not changing our plan. We're trading everybody. So that's definitely a guy that's available. So to me, that would be a really good pickup for the Leafs. I like Laughton a lot, and it's a good fit.
Yeah, don't hate that whatsoever. My thought is like, where is he slotting in your lineup?
In the 3rd line.
Yeah. Well, no, this is I'm going somewhere with this. Okay. I'm trying to
1 more year at $3 million, says Christian.
Yeah. I'm just trying to go to the ice time quickly before we
Christian.
go. Because
Leafs ice time, I got it here.
No. I got it. Okay. I'm a little surprised by player of the game tonight. Like the list that I guess that's our list we put out there. Yeah. No, that's fine. Hildeby fine, but yeah.
No love for the dudes. Dewar was buzzing tonight. I thought he could.
I thought that this was a Benoit game. So I would say that, and this is just be quick, but Veru is dying to get Robertson out of the lineup.
Oh my God.
Played 8 minutes tonight. Yeah. And I was going to say the Flyers, I'm pretty sure this is his kind of Super Bowl game. I'd like to see what his numbers are against Flyers, terrible goaltender, back-to-back.
Yeah.
This is like the Nick Robertson special, and Berube couldn't even put him on the ice for more than 8 minutes.
Skip the shift for him. Put out Dog Willie over him for one point.
That's what I mean. It's like, anyway, I know we hammer the guy a lot, but yeah, it's bad. And Berube's dying for anybody to be there with him.
3rd line to Scott Laughton in the center with McMahon and Domi. Yep. Sign me up, baby. That's a good 3rd line. So I like Laughton. That's my guy. Officially saying it right now.
The trade value that was to some just skyrocketing is
Philip Myers and Scott Laughton, the 2 pillars of Sam Keith's Leafs. A couple good blocks from my boy tonight. Couple good couple good cycle stops.
Good Phillip Leafs Myers. Talk tonight. Just a classic episode of just, hey, we loved the physicality, we loved the depth.
And Domi relax with the elbow. And
that was bad.
In the 3rd period. What was that? Like,
dude, this is the thing. Domi loses his mind sometimes.
Can't have it in the playoffs. Like, it's if this is the playoffs, I never forgive him. Like, this is that was like looked like his dad on. Who was his dad get? Was it Niedermeyer that his dad got? with the huge elbow. Remember when he got suspended? For
I'm pretty
games?
sure it is. Yeah, pretty sure it is.
That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, his dad's third all time in PIMS, and sometimes
what was that?
I don't know. That was that honestly, dude, that was greasy as hell.
Greasy,
like, real greasy. Like that's just pure headhunting stuff. Which I don't know. Like
you might get fined for that.
I was gonna say I think the league should fine him for that straight up. Like, yeah, I know the result is not horrible because he's small, but like you just can't have that. And I'll tell you this is like. At least Kadri was awesome, like Naz, he's got some Naz in him where it's like he just sees red and you're like, don't do that, man. But yeah, I don't know. I would say it's a little worrisome for me. Got to tell you, like,
can't have this in a big playoff game. You just can't.
Yeah, you could just like they always got to have one guy who can do something dumb, like in the playoffs, like Bunting and. Now this guy, they got to have
Bunting won them their first round series when he slew-footed Ruda, or who was it that he slew-footed? The top pair guy.
It was
not Ruda.
No,
Chernak.
Yeah, Chernak.
Yeah.
No, dude. Domi's literally Charlie Kelly in the back of the van. Like I cut the brakes, wild card. He's got to stop with this stuff. Anyways, subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at JD Bunkus, at Sammy McKee. Hopefully I'm going to go back to a very good football game. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on Tuesday night. Yeah. Against the Flyers again. Ugh.
Oh, great. Another Flyers game. Yeah. Got to start Reeves in that one. Got to start Reeves in that one. It'll be a tough guy.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall, from house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations, from your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
The 2025 Honda Civic Hybrid is here, and it may sound too good to be true. With a 2-liter 4-cylinder backed by 2 electric motors, giving a combined 200 horsepower, it's our most powerful and fuel-efficient Civic ever. Plus, with an estimated range of over 800 kilometers and available features like a Bose premium sound system, your crew will love it too. Huh, maybe it should be called the Civic 2.0. Redefine your drive with the 2025 Civic Hybrid. Visit your Ontario Honda dealer and test drive yours today.
Heard of Uline? You know, the have-it-all in-stock, ready-to-deliver shipping and industrial supply specialists. The company that does things for you that are unheard of, like keeping 41,000 items in stock in our own warehouses. With customer service reps on the line to get you what you need, when you need it, 24/7, 365, every time. Maybe you heard it here first. Want to hear more? Visit uline.ca. ULINE, your shipping and industrial supply specialists.
You've been listening to NHL Play-by-Play on SiriusXM. Head over to SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, for the best hockey talk.
Iron Mike Keenan came on the morning skate with Scott Laughlin and Gord Stellick for SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, and he was asked about the long Alexei Kovalev shift during his time in New York, and he shared his side of the story about the skilled offensive talent that was Kovalev.
The Alexei Kovalev shift. I've heard 7 minutes, I've heard 9 minutes. Hey, you stay out there, you kind of figure it out. Describe to us what went into that. How long was a shift? Certainly Kovalev was a talent, that's for sure, but he was a bit of an enigma.
Super talent.
Yes.
And talented people sometimes are elusive. And Alex, I try to explain to him, you're getting 20 minutes, and I don't want the shifts to be 1 minute, so you have 20 shifts. I'm going to give you 40 shifts at 30 seconds so you can build the intensity up. Understand? Yeah, I understand, Mike. Goes out there. Of course, it's a minute and a half. I said, now, Alex, the guy that's supposed to be playing behind you just missed a shift because now we're going to the next rotation. You're out there for 2 rotations. Okay, Michael. So, again, next thing, does it again. So I said, oh, my God. So I said, okay, guys, this time when he comes back to the bench, it's now going to overextend his shift. He's going to be a little tired. Don't open the doors. He comes over and I said, get out. He thinks I love him now. Get back out there, I said. So then he comes over again. And now I said, guys, he's going to want to climb into the bench because he's done. I said, when he comes over, puts his leg up, push him back out. And they pushed him. But now they are laughing on the bench. This is in New York City. Right during the game. Back there. So Alex figures it out. He scores a goal in the middle of this shift.
Wow.
He gets himself a rest. Stays out there. Finishes the period. So I think it's about 9 minutes. I walk off the bench and said, Mess, explain it to him, will you, please? He said, I will. Don't worry. I'll look after it. So as a result, we fast forward now to the playoffs in Game 6, playing New Jersey. In the Jersey series, I double shifted him. When he had to come back, and he was electrifying. Mess got the 3 goals, but Alex was a horse. And it's very talented, powerful. And the problem was he was so efficient that he could stay out, but he didn't grasp the concept of just picking up the intensity. You could see him. He could dangle and hang onto the puck, and nobody could take it from him. He was resting while he was out there. So
in essence, it was a bit of a training ground for what was to come against the Devils at the most important time.
Exactly.
Wow.
So it turned out to be a good lesson for him because that's what he did in that game. 30 seconds, 40 seconds. I said, Alex, I'm going to double shift you. Get ready. Don't be out too long.
That was former NHL head coach Iron Mike Keenan in conversation with Gord Stellick and Scott Laughton for the Morning Skate on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. That's SiriusXM Channel 91.
Mad Dog Sports Radio has the best sports talk in the business, covering sports with a passion and knowledge you need. Mad Dog Sports Radio, SiriusXM 86, and the SXM app.
I'm Zach Crawford with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Sunday, January 5th. All times are Eastern, and please remember all games, times, and channels are subject to change, so make sure to check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the National Hockey League, at 3 p.m., the Chicago Blackhawks take on the New York Rangers. You can hear the Blackhawks on SiriusXM Channel 91 and Internet 925, while the New York Rangers can be heard on Internet 938. At 6 p.m., the Boston Bruins face off against the New York Islanders. The Bruins are on Sirius 208 XM 219 Internet 921, while the Islanders are on Internet 937. Also at 6 p.m., the Carolina Hurricanes play the Pittsburgh Penguins. Hurricanes are on Sirius 209 XM 220 Internet 924, while the Penguins are on Internet 941. At 7 p.m., the Toronto Maple Leafs are doing battle with the Philadelphia Flyers. The Toronto Maple Leafs can be heard on Sirius XM Channel 91 and on Internet 946, while the Flyers can be heard on Internet 940. Lastly, at 8 p.m., the Anaheim Ducks take on the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Ducks are on Sirius 210 XM 221 Internet 920, while the Lightning are on Internet 945. At 3 p.m., the Chicago Blackhawks take on the New York Rangers. You can hear the Blackhawks on Sirius XM Channel 91 and Internet 925, while the New York Rangers can be heard on Internet 938. At 6 p.m., the Boston Bruins face off against the New York Islanders. The Bruins are on Sirius 208 XM 219 Internet 921, while the Islanders are on Internet 937. Also at 6 p.m., the Carolina Hurricanes play the Pittsburgh Penguins. Hurricanes are on Sirius 209 XM 220 Internet 924, while the Penguins are on Internet 941. At 7 p.m., the Toronto Maple Leafs are doing battle with the Philadelphia Flyers. The Toronto Maple Leafs can be heard on Sirius XM Channel 91 and on Internet 946, while the Flyers can be heard on Internet 940. Lastly, at 8 p.m., the Anaheim Ducks take on the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Ducks are on Sirius 210 XM 221 Internet 920, while the Lightning are on Internet 945. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, stay tuned into Sirius XM NHL Network Radio on Channel 91 for the latest news, updates, and interviews.
MLB Network Radio is your home for 24/7 baseball talk, featuring on-site coverage of every major event from spring training through the World Series and expert analysis from former general managers and players. SiriusXM Channel 89.
Former Buffalo Sabres head coach Don Granato was on the Morning Skate with Scott Laughton and Gord Stellick for SiriusXM NHL Network Radio Channel 91 to talk about how different today's athletes are, as well as what it's been like to watch Austin Matthews grow.
it's really a switch in the last 10 years. The first birth year I had at the national team program was 95 birth year. So it was JT Compher, Tyler Mott, that group. You have them for 2 years, so the next birth year coming in was the 97s, which was prolific. It was Austin Matthews and Matthew Tkachuk and McAvoy and Hanifin, Werenski. And I remember talking to the coaches back then that this birth year is way different than the 95 birth year. And this summer, ironically, I picked up a book that titled The Anxious Generation. And I thought it was very well documented. And the author used the iPhone. And the iPhone came out in 2008 or 6, somewhere in that range. But social media didn't hit hard on the iPhone where you could rate a kid's looks if you're a high school student. And so judging other people on a social media app on the iPhone was about 2013. And so now you think about all these kids going to high school, and we never had this. They can be made fun of on social media. They don't even know it, and they're walking out of a classroom and people are laughing. Yeah. So it's a different world we all live in because we're all criticized and compared to more and faster. And with that, you need to balance that with support. And I think, lots of coaches that have gone that I watch around the league in the NHL, there's a lot of great coaches and a lot of good young coaches that are really good at that. The X's and O's, I say to people, are easy now. When the X's and O's are a very simple part of hockey. It's connecting with people and getting people motivated and excited. And that's changed dramatically. X's and O's became big when video hit the computer. You could watch 100 or 1,000 forechecks over and over and over and say, okay, these are the key components on a forecheck. And so, you didn't have to be in the NHL to become better at that. So that's the easy part. I just can't imagine doing this or that I did it. I called Brian Matthews one time in Austin's U17 year. And I said, Brian, I said, do you have any idea how good your son is? And his reply was no. Like, what are you talking about? Why are you, what is this conversation? And I had to explain to him, and I said, I think this is what's going to happen, Austin. I said, you honestly have to prepare for your life to become very chaotic and crazy. And lo and behold, he gets drafted in Toronto instead of some different market. And we know how crazy it can be here.
Oh yeah.
But and then the last thing I'll say on it is I remember leading up to the draft, lots of people said, can he handle Toronto? And I thought, absolutely, no problem. And the biggest thing for me is when a young player comes in the league, and we talked about earlier, if they're a -2 or 3 and they have a really tough night, you get to know how they're going to respond. And some that breaks their confidence, and maybe they need a stint in the AHL. You got to get them out of the pressure. But Austin was so good that if that happened, and when it's happened in his career, it doesn't hurt his confidence. He knows that he's in that category of player that I know I can redeem myself just get me to the next game now. And the best players can do that. And that's a different echelon of player at the NHL level that can do that. So if you look at the top players in the NHL, their confidence is not going to break. The guys right under that, they have a bad night. They may not want that next game.
On the court and off, your home for the NBA is SiriusXM. Follow all the drama as your favorite team vies for it all. SiriusXM NBA Radio. SiriusXM 86.
I'm Zach Crawford with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Sunday, January 5th. All times are Eastern, and please remember all games, times, and channels are subject to change, so make sure to check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the National Hockey League, at 3 p.m., the Chicago Blackhawks take on the New York Rangers. You can hear the Blackhawks on SiriusXM Channel 91 and Internet 925, while the New York Rangers can be heard on Internet 938. At 6 p.m., the Boston Bruins face off against the New York Islanders. The Bruins are on Sirius 208 XM 219 Internet 921, while the Islanders are on Internet 937. Also at 6 p.m., the Carolina Hurricanes play the Pittsburgh Penguins. Hurricanes are on Sirius 209 XM 220 Internet 924, while the Penguins are on Internet 941. At 7 p.m., the Toronto Maple Leafs are doing battle with the Philadelphia Flyers. The Toronto Maple Leafs can be heard on Sirius XM Channel 91 and on Internet 946, while the Flyers can be heard on Internet 940. Lastly, at 8 p.m., the Anaheim Ducks take on the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Ducks are on Sirius 210 XM 221 Internet 920, while the Lightning are on Internet 945. At 3 p.m., the Chicago Blackhawks take on the New York Rangers. You can hear the Blackhawks on Sirius XM Channel 91 and Internet 925, while the New York Rangers can be heard on Internet 938. At 6 p.m., the Boston Bruins face off against the New York Islanders. The Bruins are on Sirius 208 XM 219 Internet 921, while the Islanders are on Internet 937. Also at 6 p.m., the Carolina Hurricanes play the Pittsburgh Penguins. Hurricanes are on Sirius 209 XM 220 Internet 924, while the Penguins are on Internet 941. At 7 p.m., the Toronto Maple Leafs are doing battle with the Philadelphia Flyers. The Toronto Maple Leafs can be heard on Sirius XM Channel 91 and on Internet 946, while the Flyers can be heard on Internet 940. Lastly, at 8 p.m., the Anaheim Ducks take on the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Ducks are on Sirius 210 XM 221 Internet 920, while the Lightning are on Internet 945. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, stay tuned into Sirius XM NHL Network Radio on Channel 91 for the latest news, updates, and interviews.
SiriusXM NFL Radio Channel 88 brings you expert analysis from former players, coaches, and executives, plus reaction to all the latest news on the only 24/7 station dedicated to the National Football League.
New York Rangers legend and Hockey Hall of Famer Mark Messier joined Scott Laughton on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio Channel 91 to share what it was like to play in the 1994 finals with the New York Rangers, as well as ending the 54-year drought for the franchise and how that team represented what a hockey team is all about.
Well, look, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about 1994 as well. You mentioned Mike Keenan. We spoke with him in studio a couple of weeks ago. He still speaks so highly of you and of that run. So take us back to ending the 54-year drought. In Game 7, you get a power play goal. You shovel a puck underneath of Kirk McLean. Stands up as the game winner, as it turns out. So take us back to that hot, steamy night. What was it, June 14th of 1994 at the Garden in New York?
Just, I guess just starting, going to the rink, trying to keep your same routine. Brian Leach and I would always drive together down through Times Square, down Broadway 7th Avenue to take a right-hand turn on 33rd Street. And you could feel things were different, even from the Upper West Side. Just the vibe and the energy of the whole city was just electrified. Getting down towards Madison Square Garden, seeing the crowd already starting to build, the police officers surrounding the Garden. It was a carnival-like atmosphere. Obviously, we knew we were something on the cusp of doing something that hadn't been done in 54 years. The magnitude of it was palpable. I mean, the energy, just everything just seemed to be so electrified. You try to keep yourself in the moment. You try to stay with your routine. Obviously, there's a much more at stake. And then, we found ourselves, much like we did in 87, up 3-1 in the series, losing to the 5th game, where it was pretty much a foregone conclusion that New York Rangers were finally going to win a Stanley Cup after 54 years. Only to find ourselves the party atmosphere got a little bit delayed and then had to go back to Vancouver, which again, we got trounced in Vancouver, just like we did in 87. And now we're coming home for Game 7. And the same thing happened. It just, we felt good about our chances. We felt we were a better team than Vancouver. We felt that we should have wrapped up the series earlier against Vancouver, but that's the greatest thing about sports. You can think all you want, but the reality is, they got a heartbeat over there too. They got pride over there too. They're there for a reason because they're a great team. And here we are in Game 7 and happen to go out and execute a great game plan to beat a very hungry, very young, very physical, hard team to play against in Vancouver. And luckily for us, we had a lot of experience. We had a dynamic, incredible amount of talent with Brian Leach and Sergei Zubov, Alex Kovalev, Adam Graves and Mike Richter and net, and then sprinkled in with some veterans, some hardened veterans with McTavish and Tikkanen and Steve Larmer and Noonan and Mateau and Jeff Bukaboom and Jay Wells and all the amazing players that banded together that year to create maybe not the most skilled team that's ever won a Stanley Cup, but if you look up the word team, they could put the 1994 Ranger team right there, and that year, that team epitomizes what a team is all about.
Follow every second of the action on NHL Network Radio. From behind the bench to every play on the ice. If it's hockey, it's on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91.
I'm Zach Crawford with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Sunday, January 5th. All times are Eastern, and please remember all games, times, and channels are subject to change, so make sure to check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the National Hockey League, at 3 p.m., the Chicago Blackhawks take on the New York Rangers. You can hear the Blackhawks on SiriusXM Channel 91 and Internet 925, while the New York Rangers can be heard on Internet 938. At 6 p.m., the Boston Bruins face off against the New York Islanders. The Bruins are on Sirius 208 XM 219 Internet 921, while the Islanders are on Internet 937. Also at 6 p.m., the Carolina Hurricanes play the Pittsburgh Penguins. Hurricanes are on Sirius 209 XM 220 Internet 924, while the Penguins are on Internet 941. At 7 p.m., the Toronto Maple Leafs are doing battle with the Philadelphia Flyers. The Toronto Maple Leafs can be heard on Sirius XM Channel 91 and on Internet 946, while the Flyers can be heard on Internet 940. Lastly, at 8 p.m., the Anaheim Ducks take on the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Ducks are on Sirius 210 XM 221 Internet 920, while the Lightning are on Internet 945. At 3 p.m., the Chicago Blackhawks take on the New York Rangers. You can hear the Blackhawks on Sirius XM Channel 91 and Internet 925, while the New York Rangers can be heard on Internet 938. At 6 p.m., the Boston Bruins face off against the New York Islanders. The Bruins are on Sirius 208 XM 219 Internet 921, while the Islanders are on Internet 937. Also at 6 p.m., the Carolina Hurricanes play the Pittsburgh Penguins. Hurricanes are on Sirius 209 XM 220 Internet 924, while the Penguins are on Internet 941. At 7 p.m., the Toronto Maple Leafs are doing battle with the Philadelphia Flyers. The Toronto Maple Leafs can be heard on Sirius XM Channel 91 and on Internet 946, while the Flyers can be heard on Internet 940. Lastly, at 8 p.m., the Anaheim Ducks take on the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Ducks are on Sirius 210 XM 221 Internet 920, while the Lightning are on Internet 945. For 24/7 coverage of the NHL season and hockey across the world, stay tuned into SiriusXM NHL Network Radio on Channel 91 for the latest news, updates, and interviews.
Hear it all on demand. Your favorite shows, your favorite games. Don't miss a second of your favorite SiriusXM programming on demand with the SiriusXM app. Download it now for free.
Six-time Stanley Cup champion and Hockey Hall of Famer Mark Messier stopped by SiriusXM NHL Network Radio's The Morning Skate with Scott Laughton to discuss what Game 7 means to him and what it's like to also lose a Game 7.
Well, when you think about the two greatest words in sports, you think about Game 7 for many reasons. Obviously, to get to a Game 7, both teams obviously very evenly matched.
Cheers, insiders and football fans all over the world. This is Joe Bowen, Hall of Fame voice of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and, more importantly under these circumstances, a huge football fan of the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Well, we want to thank you for hanging out with us and cheering on your favorite team during the SickKids Football Frenzy campaign here on TSI, where we make a real-world difference in our Toronto community. Now, I'm sure you're all wondering how you are making a difference. Well, a percentage of revenue from every single game will be donated directly to SickKids Hospital, as we have raised over $6,500 in just 8 months. SickKids has impacted my life, and I'm sure the lives of countless families in the Toronto area, and I know probably a number of yours as well. Please check out the link that is pinned in the chat or in the description and donate if you are able. Let's show the power of community of sports fans making a difference. One of the best ways to increase the amount of the donation is to share the link of this YouTube live stream on social media to help bring more football fans to our amazing community, changing the world one insider at a time. We'll see you in the chat. And holy Mackinac, thank you for helping us raise money for SickKids Hospital as we heal the future.
everybody's hurt, everybody's tired, and then to lose that is devastating. I think about my own experience in Game 7, winning 7 of them. The 2 still hurt to this day. What could I have done different? You know, you always say that you got to lose in order to understand how to win. I do agree with that. I think there are lessons in loss and in failure, both as a team and as an individual. If I had my preference, I would have liked to have learned those lessons while I was winning. But unfortunately, that's just not the way it is. But I look back at it now and just think about how grateful I am for all the lessons in wins and the losses, because it really ends up defining who you are as a person and as a player.
The PGA Tour comes to life on SiriusXM. It's your destination for everything on the tour. Hear live hole-by-hole coverage and expert analysis. PGA Tour Radio, SiriusXM 92.
I'm Zach Crawford with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Sunday, January 5th. All times are Eastern, and please remember all games, times, and channels are subject to change, so make sure to check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the National Hockey League, at 3 p.m., the Chicago Blackhawks take on the New York Rangers. You can hear the Blackhawks on SiriusXM Channel 91 and Internet 925, while the New York Rangers can be heard on Internet 938. At 6 p.m., the Boston Bruins face off against the New York Islanders. The Bruins are on Sirius 208, XM 219, Internet 921, while the Islanders are on Internet 937. Also at 6 p.m., the Carolina Hurricanes play the Pittsburgh Penguins. Hurricanes are on Sirius 209, XM 220, Internet 924, while the Penguins are on Internet 941. At 7 p.m., the Toronto Maple Leafs are doing battle with the Philadelphia Flyers. The Toronto Maple Leafs can be heard on Sirius XM Channel 91 and on Internet 946, while the Flyers can be heard on Internet 940.